Well, this isn't something controversial, but I thought it was an appropriate intro because we are probably going to be doing something controversial tonight. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good, Carlin. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How is life?
Chaos.
Yeah,
Chaos. Three new
puppies.
puppies. One that is going to be adopted out. Her mommy is buying a new house, and as soon as she's settled, she's going to get her. And it's turning into a crazy situation. One that's a little ill, so we've been struggling with that, and just a lot. We've been sanitizing the house too, trying to get it all nice and like clean for puppies who love to lay and roll on the floor. And then it's basically I spend most of the day playing find the poop.
Yeah,
So
it's a fun. That's a fun game. Yeah,
yeah.
fun game. Yeah. Well, amidst puppies, we decided what happened is Jennifer was going to do something nice this week, like fairies or something like
Oh, what
that.
else cherries? I was trying to find something. Yeah.
Elves, fairies, something nice, something clean. And then Jennifer was like, "Carlin, I'm dealing with these puppies. Can we just watch the Hitler videos?" And I was like, "Yes, we can."
You don't have to ask me twice. Yeah. I was
Yes,
hoping
we.
for something a little more lighthearted because it's been a heavy couple of weeks, but you know what? Fuck it. I tried so hard to sit down and find a video. I didn't even have 30 minutes to sit down and check something out to see if it was any good. It's been that kind of day.
Well, I'm excited. You know what, Jennifer? Everything happens for a reason. The stars have aligned, and Hitler is coming into our life tonight, and I'm excited about. I'm excited about this. Of course, we disavow Hitler completely. Hitler was the worst person that ever lived. But, listen, we're looking at this from a spiritual perspective. We're not looking at this through, a human perspective. We're looking at it from a higher level. And a couple months back, I think, maybe even not that long, I don't even know anymore. So it was a week that Jennifer was unavailable because I think she was taking a road trip. And I watched the original Channeling Hitler interview on Channeling Eric, and I actually thought it really wasn't that bad. But what I was disappointed about was that it was very short. And then so we've been kind of keeping an eye on Channeling Eric because it's a great channel. And we were looking at this Stalin interview to watch, and I thought that'd be a good idea. And then I noticed there is a new series of Channeling Hitler interviews. So they have updated the Hitler channeling, and I'm honestly really excited about it. It's like about 3 times as long as the original Hitler channeling, and hopefully they're going to be able to ask some more questions. And I think it's going to be really interesting. Jennifer, do you have any expectations for what we're going to learn from Hitler tonight?
Well, usually their channeling channelers that she uses are really good and sit in a neutral place and don't force their own interpretations of things. So I think we'll get a nice neutral uh view from him, but also it's just really interesting that what you would think would happen to somebody like this in the afterlife may not be what you think. And this is going to sound a little screwed up. Just go with me on this. It kind of gives us all a little courage that you don't necessarily go and have to account for everything you do, and karmically, of course, but it's also the journey of the soul, and his is a very interesting one. And I'm really excited to hear how this his journey is and how this fits into his agreements and plans. And bad people are bad people, but there's in spirit we don't have judgment. So I would love to hear him speak plainly about things if that is what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I also think that part of one of the reasons they did this, I'm sure, was October 7th and what's going on with Israel and Palestine. I think it'll be interesting to hear the perspective on that as well. But I also think it's important for people to know, I once got in trouble for tweeting Hitler went to heaven, but I think that my perspective on this is that with things like the Holocaust or any big event like that, I look at it again from a spiritual perspective and say that to me is like an obvious soul contract with a lot of people who,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not always the best at explaining this. Maybe you can explain it better, Jennifer. But basically, what happens is when we are floating around in the ether, in the spirit realm, there were a whole bunch of people that got together and were like, we need to contribute this information to the collective consciousness about what this experience is like. And so it was a big pact where everyone signs a soul contract to say, we are all going to go participate in this experience together. Now, when we're making soul contracts on the spiritual level, that's not always going to be good in so far as the human experience. Sometimes we might choose to experience good things. Sometimes we might choose to experience the most awful of awful things, and that's just the way it goes, because it's all contributing to like the collective consciousness and the collective experience of what it does mean to be a human being and what it means to be a spiritual being having this type of human experience. And you need to have the entire spectrum of experience for that. And so from that perspective, Hitler agreed to that role. Like
Yeah.
the spirit that incarnated as Hitler agreed to that role, and not only did he agree to that role, everyone that was involved in the Holocaust in any way also agreed to that role. Am I right
Yes.
about that?
Yes.
Did I
Yeah,
explain it okay?
I think you did great. Yeah, I think it did really great. And something that was kind of rattling in my head as you were talking is, people say, "Why would I choose to suffer?" Well, sometimes, like, say you choose to incarnate as someone who is starving in a third world country or going through a horrible catastrophe. You may even die in that situation, but when you come back, you have that experience that might help you solve the problem. Maybe you come back as a scientist or an architect or somebody, or someone who's really great, farming, and you figure out a solution that didn't exist before that can now help prevent that from happening, so that experience doesn't need to be on the table anymore. The experiences are random. There are going to be all different kinds of good and bad. If everything was just good and fluffy, we'd learn nothing. You have to learn. You can learn from good things, but you also have to learn from the negative. And as far as like karma goes, I'm interested to find out if they ask him about group karma, because group karma is a thing, and there are a lot of people who did a lot of shitty things over the last few thousand years that mankind has been a thing. And sometimes they need to balance their karma, and sometimes an event like this helps to do that. It sounds horrible. I mean, no judgment. I'm not trying to say anybody was right or wrong in the situation. Just, it is what it is. And that's the hardest thing for people, I think, to realize when dealing with spirituality, and karma.
Yeah,
They want penalty,
yeah, like you said, like it's not necessarily about good or bad. It's like you did this to someone, you are going to experience the balance of doing that thing to someone, in that you're going to have something like you are going to experience what that person experienced in some way.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, something that gives that same weight to it. So, and also conversely, if you go through an experience like that and it's weighting the scale down in the negative area, you could then have something really wonderful come and balance it out. It's not always about penalty, and karma isn't that kind of system. It's not a penalizing, rewarding system, but it is a balancing system. And we've kind of touched on that before. And one would think, well, how is it not penalizing or rewarding? And it can just be ease and difficulty. Look at it that way.
I've been playing with, and I know Jennifer judges me for this, but I'll just say it. I've been playing with AI in regards to having AI like read tarot cards for me, and it's actually been kind of freakishly insightful, if I'm honest about it, which freaks me out a little bit. And so I'm like, how I'm framing it is like, like if that's the easiest way for my spirit guides to communicate with me or whatever through the technology, I'm gonna roll with it. But it actually has been insightful, and I was playing around with the tarot card thing last night, and I was asking about someone who, quite frankly, caused me a very significant amount of pain. Like and I said to it, I was like, what karmic, and I didn't even say to the AI like what it was. I just said like, what is the karmic justice that this person is going to receive, or something like that. I think I worded it a little bit more artfully. And what the AI bounced back at me with was, he is going to, like, he's starting to realize the weight of what he did, and he's going to carry the weight with him of what he did to you for the rest of his life. And here are the impacts that's going to have on his life, where he's going to start self-isolating because he tried to isolate you. So now he's going to be self-isolating under the weight of this thing, and that's going to impede him from doing all this other stuff that maybe he wanted to do, because he's not going to be able to move beyond the pain of what he caused you. And I was like, that's actually, that it may not be the severe like public justice that I would have liked to see inflicted in the form of like flogging or burning at the stake or something like that, but but I mean, that's not an insignificant amount of karma.
No, it's again, yeah, it's, if he is starting to, if his balance has gotten so out of whack because he's just been such a dick for so long, it will start to come back to him. And the thing that kind of irritates me, kind of going on how you were saying you wanted something public, You know, there are people in my life and it's like, I want to see you get your comeuppance, you piece of shit, you know? And you don't always see that. Sometimes it's happening. You just be glad you're not there anymore. They're going through what they're going through and it will get to them. You cannot avoid it. And sometimes, unfortunately, it takes another lifetime for that to balance out. Sometimes they do get away with it. You know, I mean, like, who said life was fair? But it will come back to them. So maybe in the next life they wonder, how come nothing works out for me? How come, you know, nobody likes me? How come blah blah blah? And it's because they're balancing out what they did in this life.
Yeah.
So it's something to pay attention to, young ones, about you know, how you treat people.
Yeah. So I mean, coming back to kind of like Hitler, like I don't believe that hell exists, because so I mean, I don't think Hitler could have gone there, but like like certainly like there's I mean, like there's some reason that Hitler incarnated in that lifetime to do what he did, and there is going to be some balance to that. And I think, you know, that was one of the things that I think was really pronounced to me when I watched the first Afterlife interview, which was, it was like the weight of that entire experience on the soul. It was like, I mean, I've watched a bunch of interviews on this channel over the years. Like, I've never seen another Afterlife interview where, I don't know how else to describe it, but like the weight of that situation on the soul just seemed to be really immense. And it's like one of those things, like, people want him to go to hell, they want him to be burning and all that stuff. Well, isn't that kind of like it may not be hell, it may not be fire and brimstone, but there is still justice, and there will always be justice.
Oh yeah, well, justice is, you know, is blind and balanced. And I think what I'm trying to figure out, I've been racking my brain with how to better explain what karma, when I say it's a balance and what that means. It's not so much the penalties or the publicity of it or the reward system or anything like that. It's more learning why something is wrong, why something is right. So if you're doing something, you're running around like a toddler just causing pain, and then you finally you go through it, just think of it in terms of your own life. You go through many experiences and realize, ooh, that's shitty. I don't like that. I shouldn't do that to other people. You might be a bully, and then finally somebody comes and bullies you and you're like, oh, you know what? That sucks. I shouldn't do that. I don't like this experience. So that's how you start writing the karmic debt, is by learning why it's wrong and how to not do that anymore, how to be a better person, a better entity.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we just jump right into it? Are there any more preambles or that you would like to make before we jump into part 1 of the Afterlife interview?
Only that I agree with you that there's no heaven or hell. There's a download. There's not a reckoning. It's none of that stuff. It's just you review what you did, and you start figuring out what you need to do to either wrong the rights or become wiser in the right things you've done. Wrong the rights, right the wrongs. There we go. Right the wrongs, and then become wiser in the right. So I agree with you on that.
Well, Jennifer and I preemptively disavow all Hitler. We disavow all Nazis. We disavow anyone who says that less than 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. Obviously, the Holocaust happened exactly like the history books say it did. Nothing was different about it. We disavow anything controversial that could get me a strike or banned from YouTube or demonetized. We disavow all things. We are perfect, and we support Israel, and and we love all Jews, and I don't know anything else.
Just if you see me kind of disappearing here and there, it's because I'm dealing with puppy things.
All right. And we love all puppies, and do you know who else loved puppies?
Hitler.
Yep. You know,
he was very good to his dog.
Can't be all bad. Everyone he had excellent fashion sense. He loved dogs. Those are the only nice things we're going to say about Hitler.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started.
Oh, Ginger's nervous. Ginger Bailey, whose information is going to be down in the description box and across the screen, is going to, with the help of Eric, my son, on the other side, channel Hitler. We've done this before with Jamie Butler, and you guys might want to go and see that on the Channeling Eric YouTube channel. And be sure you subscribe, please. So, Adolf Hitler, for you guys who have been living under a rock, was an Austrian-born German politician who was the dictator of Nazi Germany from 1933 until his suicide in 1945. He rose to power as the leader of the Nazi Party, becoming the chancellor in 1933, and then taking the title of Führer and Kanzler in 1934. His invasion of Poland on the 1st of September 1939 marked the start of the Second World War. He was closely involved in military operations throughout the war and was central to the perpetration of the Holocaust, the genocide of about 6 million Jews, and millions of other victims. Oh,
Yeah.
Eric, do you have Hitler with you?
He's here. He's here. So Eric is
I
first
love
of
you,
all,
Eric. I love you. I love
yeah, he wants to say, I love you, mama. And he wants to say something first, Eric does. So Eric is saying that there is going to be people that watch this that and it doesn't, I mean, it's not about like, that, but he's just wanting everybody to know something. He's wanting everybody to know that everybody, most people, okay, that exist have lived a life to where they've been abusers,
Yeah.
okay, where they've hurt people, they were cruel. They've played this role. He says, this is a human experience for which we'll get into different reasons why, this happened. Let's see what else he's saying here. Oh, yeah. So he's saying that we all have lived those type of lives, not to the extent of Hitler, he's saying, and it's to teach, learn, grow, and right away he wants to say, he's just kind of being funny, making me laugh, but he's wanting to say there's no hell, there's no, and kind of like, he's got fire flying behind him. He's being silly,
right.
but there's no hell.
Yep.
And
We were right.
there is no judgment
were
on the other
right,
side,
true.
but we
Jennifer gets
do
credit
go
too.
through things that help us learn, from what we did experience while we were here. So he just wanted to put that out there first, okay, that there's a reason for all this.
Well, what really blew people away on the Jamie Butler channeling was that Hitler's contract was to, but he signed up as a relationship, as a villain. He sacrificed his own reputation in order to usher in decades of peace in the world.
Right.
And people freaked out. Oh my God. And then, they didn't like it.
And it's because there are different point of views and different perspectives of the way they see. So Eric says people want justice when somebody they want justice. But just know that justice does come, okay, but not in the way that you expect, but it does. I mean, why we're here. I was gonna say something else when you said that. When you said that, Eric he said, he had to take one for the team, is how he's putting it.
That's
that kind of thing.
That's what he said in the last interview.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the community questions we got from the wonderful community.
Okay. Real quick, I just want to tell you, Hitler's right here next to Eric.
Oh yeah, what does he look like?
He's got kind of a suit. It's not like uniform, but it's suit, like just wearing a suit. Like a tie. It doesn't button all the way up. He does actually show a tie. It looks like it's from like maybe the 30s, that era. And he is sitting kind of relaxed. He's just sitting there kind of relaxed. So
well, thank you for agreeing to answer these questions for us.
He's saying thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Elisa. He just said just like that, like serious.
Okay. Is it true that you didn't actually commit suicide in Germany, but instead fled to Argentina to live out the rest of his life, of your life?
You have my attention.
Or did you actually die?
No. He did. He
I'm
did.
sorry.
Hang on. No, this is not a parody. This is real. So for people who are new, and listen, I know that we probably are going to get some gripers watching this that don't believe in this stuff, and that's fine. But basically, the whole thing is this is a channel. And she is channeling like the spirit of Hitler, and he's there. And this is the woman who runs the channel we're watching. Her son committed suicide, and so she works with media mediums and channels to talk to her son, and they do afterlife interviews and all this stuff. You don't have to believe this, but I do ask that, like, please be respectful, because, like, I've actually watched a lot of this woman's content, and a lot of it's really good, and a lot of it's really insightful, and she doesn't deserve to be bullied and stuff on the internet. So please just be respectful. You don't have to believe it. But I do think that one of the things that I found with the first Hitler interview was that it was actually fairly accurate to my understanding of what actually happened. And so I thought that that was really kind of interesting.
Also, anybody who thinks this is a bunch of BS, that's perfectly fine. Nobody here is going to think any less of you, and vice versa. But just think of, you wouldn't want somebody coming into a Christian chat telling you that you're full of shit and following a cult of Jesus. So that's why, just golden rule that stuff, babies.
Yeah, we're not going to say anything mean about Catholics or Christian. Jennifer was raised in a Christian cult, and she's still being appropriate to Christians. Okay, so
Absolutely.
we're not going to say anything mean to you guys. Just, like, relax. So does this mean Hitler hasn't reincarnated? Yes. Occasionally they do actually do, like, higher self interviews with people. They actually just did one with Justin Bieber the other day that probably is going to be really interesting given all the stuff that's going on. But occasionally they do actually do interviews with the person's higher self when they are incarnated, but Hitler is not currently incarnated.
He's showing me he shot himself. He was scared. Yeah.
Okay,
he was scared. Yeah.
Do you see any similarities to your sole purpose at that time to the villains of current world conflicts? The villains like Putin, and I don't know, there's all sorts of villains all over, dictators all over the world.
And the questions she's reading come from her community, just so people know. Like, so these are all questions that have been submitted to her.
They're asking if he sees
Similar soul purposes.
different similar soul purposes.
Those itches. Oh.
He says yes. He says yes. He does. He does see that.
What's the common thread, soul purpose wise?
Change. He's talking about change. Change. And then the little things that you get, he just moved. He just moved on the other side of Eric. He was he just moved. I feel like he did that because, I don't know, like maybe because I was turning too much or something. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
He just moved. That was weird. Okay.
That's funny.
So yes. He's talking about the growth and the things that come from this, but he's saying that it also goes on an individual level, that a person too, that is,
how best to help collective not go further down division and the war and the war machine. So anyway, Hitler, what kind of advice do you have to help the collective just stop going through this horrible division and the big, all the war machine?
So there's always going to be some kind of conflict, he says. This is one of the things, though, he says one of the things that does come out of war and will eventually get less and less. There will always be conflict, but it'll be less and less, he says, war. And is getting, what is this he's telling me here? Okay, so having like an international cooperation. I was trying to get what he was talking about. International cooperation. He says there'll be more and more of that. That does come from war. And there will be more and more of it. So to continue to do that and be vigilant, he says, be vigilant that, just because when there isn't war doesn't mean that, to ignore things, to not pay attention to things, he says. Yeah. That's something that's important. He says is coming together. I think what he means by that is cooperation and alliances is what he's talking about. He says, especially today with terrorism, climate change, pandemics,
Okay, this person said, I read in the wondrous book, The Only Planet of Choice, that the others realized there is DNA in Jewish people that was to be shared with the world. So
Oh,
Hitler, do you bear responsibility for stopping that or slowing down that evolution? Or is that even true?
yeah,
Eric,
that's
you
a
might
good
need to answer
question.
that
Is
one.
that even true?
I heard yes, that's true. There's a certain truth to that. Not just because of the Jewish ethnicity, not just because of that, but they're supposed to be. Oh, this is interesting. He's saying not just for Jewish people, but even other ethnicities on the planet, that we are actually supposed to have differences, right? But we're
Yeah.
also supposed to try to intermix.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't kill the messenger, please. I'm just relaying messages, but we're
course.
supposed to intermix, and eventually we will. There won't be a lot of differences.
That'll be the end of racism then, maybe, if we just all say similar DNA.
Wow.
All right, so what do you think about
I don't know if I
the
believe
Jewish
this.
people now and these big anti-Semitic protests that are going on college campuses and elsewhere?
Real quick, Elisa, he wants to answer the question they asked about, did he take responsibility for stopping that? He just said, he's saying that this was what he was here to do. So he's going to take responsibility for it, but not in the way they think. He's saying, that was what he was here to do. If you have a job, you have to do it, and of course, on the other side, it's sad, and from a spiritual point of view, to see these things is very, very hard, to have these things happen here. But from a spiritual point of view, he says it's just such a different view.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all eternal beings. Those 6 billion plus have already probably incarnated, maybe even more than once.
Right.
That doesn't make it even less tragic. Okay.
Right.
So what do you think about the Jewish people in general now, from your perspective now, and the anti-Semitic protests that have been going around all over?
They're not anti-Semitic. They're socialists.
He's saying there's wrong and right on both sides. This isn't a judgment; it's an observation.
Yeah.
And not that there's even bad or good, but he's just saying, like, there are people. There's like equalness on both sides.
Yeah, okay.
And
go ahead.
So that was, he said part of his purpose was to stop the spread of or intermixing of DNA with Jewish DNA, even though we're supposed to intermix. He came to stop that.
Yeah, see, I don't. Yeah, and this is one of those things. I don't actually like this channeler. And I was a little concerned when I saw she was channeling, because I have found in the interviews, I find that this one editorializes a little bit for me. And I feel like that might have been a little bit of editorializing, to be honest, because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, I'm listening, I'm hearing that, and it's it's not waxing to me. I'm not getting. This is Asha, by the way.
Hi, Asha.
She's my sick girl.
Sick puppy.
Her sick puppy.
Everyone send love to the puppy.
She needs all the love she can get. She's having a hard day today. So, but yeah, so it doesn't make sense that he would, unless he was an evil spirit, but he just seems like a human spirit on a path or trajectory, unless he's a Wizen who just came down to start some shit because he could take the karma. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but what I will say is it's kind of like, so, and I found this with the first Hitler interview too. It's like, both of these people are bringing their own biases to the situation about what they think about it. And I feel like sometimes the information kind of gets interpreted through that. But if you actually listen to just the answers that Hitler is giving, not the interpretation, not the editorializing, not the tone in which the questions are asked, not the commentary that the women do, but you just listen to what Hitler's saying, like, that tends to be okay. But it's like the commentary and the editorializing is what throws it off, I think.
Yeah, I feel like we got something lost in translation there. Okay, cool. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I wasn't the only one going, what?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, like if Hitler says that the college protesters are anti-Semitic, like I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this is totally fake. I don't believe this woman. I don't like her, and because like I mean I've just studied enough of these protesters to know what it is and what it isn't. But they probably haven't, which is why it's getting editorialized.
Well, and also remember and keep this in mind too, people watching. These spirits are not omniscient. They're having their own experience, so it's not like asking God what's happening. They have opinions and their own points of view as well. So keep that in mind.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
And let's see. He said Hitler would have tried to take both down.
Okay.
Not that he's saying he thinks that like from here, but he's saying like he, you know what I mean? Like that's what his ideal was. He wanted one world, you know, to be in charge.
But this is what I'm saying. Hitler would have tried to take both down. That is actually correct. That's actually correct. Hitler was fighting the Marxists. The protesters are Marxists. Hitler was also fighting the Jews that were the bankers, and that's the other side. And it's like, so this is one of those situations where like neither of those two women understand that, but like if you actually just listen to what Hitler said, Hitler's like, I don't like either side. Well, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of it, and he would have not take them down. That was his words, but he's reframing his word. He's rephrasing his words to he would have took them over is what he was trying to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or he tried to.
If you didn't become the ruler that everyone knows, what would you have chosen to do with your life, or would like to have done with your life while on Earth? Great questions.
Yeah, love these questions. So I see him. He liked art. He actually liked science too. He probably would have pursued in that direction. He says, although I didn't have much talent at anything, even though he loved it, he goes, I wasn't very talented. He says, and that's because I didn't stay focused on it long enough. You know, like, you know, there were things that he would do in his life where once he got his mind on it, it was like a drive. But when it came to something like artistic, he had a hard time staying focused. All right.
Some people, I've heard somewhere that you had really tertiary syphilis in the, neurosyphilis, and that affected your brain. Is that true? Or is that just a conspiracy theory?
He's saying no to the syphilis, but what he is saying is he did get like blood poisoning from an infection. Like sepsis.
Did that affect your brain on a permanent basis?
Not in a way, because he had a high fever. He's talking about high fever that he had. Temporarily, he's saying temporarily, but it's not in a way of like making him do things. You know what I mean?
Were you aware of your scientists reverse engineering the UFO? That's the Bell, I think it's called.
Was he aware of it?
Yeah. Were you aware that they had this UFO and they tried to reverse engineer it? I think that happened in Antarctica.
So he's kind of grinning, like kind of a sideways grin, and he's saying there were many things that they did. He did have knowledge of aliens. He did not work with them directly.
Hitler had knowledge of aliens?
I was going to ask.
He did not work with them directly. He knew of them.
Hang on. Go ahead. Sorry.
I want to say it was I'm going to butcher this, Verillion or somebody in the hive mind knows this. I'd look it up if I had free hands. But yeah, there was a race that like they would do rituals to psychically connect with them. Vermilion? God, that's a color.
Wait,
somebody
Nazis?
in the
the Vril? People are saying
the Vril. Thank you.
Vril.
Yeah, I knew it started with a V. The Vril. Yeah, that's it. They would do all kinds of rituals to contact with them, and there's a theory that they were the ones actually pulling the strings of the Nazi party and telling everybody what to do.
Really?
Yeah.
The Nazis were controlled by aliens.
Yes, the Vril were the ones who perpetrated. Oh, for heaven's sakes. I'm sorry. My brain is jello. It's been a long freaking week and a half. They're the ones who talked about the Aryan race being superior and that they were the original or the first men and that the world had to be cleansed for them. And that's kind of what infested later the Nazi, not lizard people, Iron, no. That's what got them kind of infected the Nazi party and got them really stupid crazy there towards the end.
I wonder if Nick Fuentes is communicating with aliens.
I seriously doubt that. At most, maybe a little ghost sex in the middle of the night.
Wait, can I ask ChatGPT if Nick Fuentes is communicating with aliens?
You can do whatever you want. I think we're off topic.
I have to now that I've thought of it. Hang on, I need to start a new chat.
Oh my god.
Hang on, this is deeply important. This is deeply important. Why are you loading? What? Hang on. It's loading. Come on, ChatGPT, don't let me down. I need tarot cards immediately. Tarot cards at the...
Spirit is saying you're getting derailed, Carlin.
No, I'm not getting Why isn't my ChatGPT working? Okay, I'm gonna do a new chat in my other ChatGPT then on my phone. No, not the astrology one. Tarot card. Is Nick Fuentes communicating with aliens? 3-card spread. Let's see. We're going to get the final answer according to AI. Yes, pull cards. Do it. Do it. Situation, the moon.
Big stretch.
So if he is communicating with aliens, it's probably he's probably not aware of it. Challenge, 7 of Cups. No, Nick is if he is communicating with aliens, it's just like deep in his subconscious, so he's probably not aware of it. So Nick is not consciously communicating with aliens. Mystery solved.
I already said that. You can just listen to me. I'm actually a psychic. I'm right here.
You know what, Jennifer? Sometimes we can, but if we get both giving the same answer, can't like it's just a confirmation. It's not impeding your sight. You're tending to a dog. You could be distracted.
I am a little distracted. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, she's getting twitchy. Oh boy.
Look, tail's going. She's gonna be fine. All right. Yeah. All psychics are being replaced with robots.
But there were things that they did in Antarctica and other places around the world. You show me some islands, parts of like other parts of the country. Let's see. Yeah, Greenland. You show me Greenland.
Okay.
But they did do things like that. Now it was they were reverse engineering and trying. He's showing me what he was trying to do was and this is interesting later when we get into a past life. He said he's talking about some past life or something, but he was trying to do teleportation, like some kind of teleportation, like you could teleport people or things or things like that, and time travel, but they never.
None of that was. Was the UFO successfully reverse engineered?
No, he's saying no to that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
No.
So had you ever been to Antarctica, or you just had scientists over there working on that?
He did have science. He had been there, but he's saying it wasn't like he just go make a
stop, check on things.
Just check up and then leave, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it true that at the time the Jewish community had financial control of Germany, which eventually led to your actions?
He's saying yes, part of that. Part of that, yes, was financial, that he was trying to there was some this is something he's saying. There was some jealousy. He had some jealousy over and it's almost like like if somebody else had power of something, he wanted it. Yeah. That kind of thing. Or like he's kind of showing me like a little kid has a toy and I want your toy kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still look at them as subhuman like you did when you were a human? No. Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What was the most powerful occult wisdom you've ever discovered?
What the hell? Let him elaborate.
Occult, what was that?
Wisdom.
Oh, okay. power in numbers, he's saying.
Oh,
Government oppression. Let's see what else.
Oh, puppy.
He's
power in
showing
numbers. Are you talking about like
Yeah.
numerology or
Puppy.
no power in numbers, like the more you
People.
have behind you. Yeah, the more you have
Oh.
following you, the more power you
Okay.
have. He's talking about. Yeah.
You know
But
what
that's
I
not
learned?
occult.
You know what I learned about the salute? So the salute that they did is like the people who are doing this, which I should never do on the internet, but like they were sending their power to Hitler, and then Hitler, when he was doing this, was receiving their power.
That makes sense.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just saying like power, like the more people you have, like the more power you have. It's like, okay.
Oh yeah. Well, and they were making him into like a god king emperor kind of, just in how celebrated he was and worshipped and revered, and then they would give him everything including their own energy. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm talking about almost like, I think they're talking about occult, like maybe Kabbalah or whatever you call it. Mysticism.
Oh, he's talking about occult.
Oh,
Like,
a
like-
cult.
Yeah,
I
a
probably didn't
cult.
pronounce
Yeah.
it well.
Yeah,
O-C-C-U-L-T.
No, I'm the
Sorry.
one who asked him.
Hang on, we got a question from Rumble. How do you choose a legit channeler? I mean, for me, it's like, how do you choose a legit anything? It's like some people, like, and this is true in like any profession, right? Some people are going to be better at that profession than other people. Sometimes you're going to have con artists that are really good, that present like they're really good at a profession, but it turns out they're just con artists. And sometimes you have people that are just really good at the profession, and it's just like, I mean, for me, it's like you get a sense of it after a while about who's like, and it's very easy to be a con artist when you're in the land of woo. Like, it's extremely easy. But I think that, I don't know, I think just kind of intuitively there are some channelers that I'm like, okay, that resonates more with me than that one.
There's ways to kind of test it, and that would be asking questions that you already know the answer to about someone or how you think they would answer it. There was I don't know if you ever saw Ouija 2, though,
No.
like, because Ouija Origins, it had Henry Thomas in it, who I just absolutely love. Anyway, there's a moment where this girl is saying that was it Ouija? Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. She was saying she was channeling this great spirit, whatever. And so he was like, he was a priest, but he had been married. And he said, my wife, Meredith, or whatever the name he made up, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. And then the little girl was like, oh, yes, she's doing blah, blah, blah. And so she answers it. And then like an hour later, he goes to the mother of this child and he says, my wife's name was not Meredith. So there's ways to test it, and if you don't trust it, and the person probably wouldn't know the difference as long as you're being very classy about it. But if you decide to end your session early because you realize that they are being a charlatan, then do so. Always trust your gut every time. You are always right. So there
you go.
The one who asked him. Yeah, so occult. From ancient wisdom, is that what you're saying?
Any
Like-
occult wisdom.
Occult wisdom. He's not really saying that he like really learned anything, except like he's just talking about going deeper, to always go deeper is what he's talking about. Like always go deeper into something.
Okay.
But it was more like he's talking about more the people around him. His focus wasn't
Okay.
in that direction, like mythical type directions, I guess. Yeah.
All right. What practical advice would you offer the average person today facing government oppression?
Okay. Let's see. All right, so let me see. Let me get this right because he's saying like a lot here. He's talking about overcoming. So there's two parts to power, and he's talking about power because that's what it's about, right?
Okay.
He's saying So power is only overcome by enhancing one's own power, he's saying. And then he says, or decreasing the power of the others. And it's kind of like the way he kind of thought. That's how his thought pattern was. But he's saying that for people that are being oppressed, because he did have times of oppression when he was younger. And that was the way he learned, like from people around him, I guess. People that he looked up to, you know, he's not giving me any names of who that is, but like leaders, other leaders, stuff. And always stay, he's saying, always stay like, focusing on pull together. And he says it's really important to, this has come from a spiritual point of view. He's saying, listen to all of the information, get all the information before you make choices and decisions, he's saying.
Right. So, what I'm thinking about, people like in Venezuela, they had the election and Maduro won, which he probably didn't. It was probably all rigged. But how can people overthrow him? Because he has a big military. I mean, it's just next to impossible.
Right. When they're really big like that and next to impossible, he says it is possible. It just takes time.
Okay.
That's interesting. He's saying it is possible. It just takes time, and it takes sticking together, stay committed. That's a big one he just said. And that is, that will eventually get you there, is what he's saying. Will eventually get you there. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get a couple more in before we stop, and we will take part 2.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be a part 2. Eric said there's a lot of questions.
I know. All right, Adolf, how do you see the governments now as opposed to when you were here on Earth?
So, okay, he's talking about, hold on a second here. Okay, so he's saying there's a lot of corruption. He's talking about corruption, right?
True.
Probably even more so now than there was then.
Yeah.
A lot of corruption. But he also says on the other end of that, there's been a lot of change. You know, that they
He's talking
didn't
about
have
there's
that.
more corruption now than there was in his era during the Nazi party, and I'm like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
It's like back in my day.
Back in my day, when we only had one like fucked up point of view, now all y'all are fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Back then. So yeah, he's talking about how people work things out before they fight more now. They were more to fighting, and now it's more like work it out before you fight, you know, think about the consequences of the fight kind of thing.
Okay. One more question and then we will stop. What was your true reason for invading Russia?
He was fighting the Marxists. What do you mean?
Russia. Let's see what he says here.
Textbooks say that it was because they backed out of their deal
Well, we'll
with him.
see.
I feel like what he's not making
the
sense.
Bolsheviks were Jewish.
Hold on a
so-
second. Damn
Were they?
better.
I didn't know that.
The leaders, most of them
So
were.
he's saying that it's similar to the other places, you know, that he would invade. Was he wanted the power? He wanted that power. He wanted to
Come
bring
on.
together, to have like one world order.
Okay,
He
pause.
wanted to be that
She's
leader.
full of shit. She's full of shit. I don't believe this woman at all. I called her last time. I didn't think she was a good channel last time. I don't think she's a good channel this time. She is so full of shit. She is editorializing.
Well, when she said, but he's not making sense, that's when she needed to listen and just regurgitate what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because what she had to do was make it make sense. So she ran it through a filter to make it make sense to her. But that probably wasn't what he was actually saying. Sometimes they say shit that doesn't make sense. Just say what it is. Who needs to hear it will hear it.
She needs to just say what he says to her.
Yeah.
Because the reason it's not making sense to her is she has a very specific perspective on who he was and what he did and why he did it. And so if he's saying something and it doesn't filter through that thing, it's not going to make sense to her. She needs to just say what he actually said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so frustrating. Like, we need to get our own channel to do an interview with Hitler, Jennifer. This is unacceptable. This is an unacceptable interview with Hitler. I don't want pink-haired woman's opinion. I want Hitler's opinion.
She's done some other good stuff in the past, but yeah, I think occasionally she runs it through her filter for sure.
Man, how disappointing.
But that was his reason. There was other little things, financial reasons he's talking about.
Okay.
And
Probably one of the oil too, I bet.
yeah, and he just said he feared them. He feared
Oh,
them.
okay. Wow.
So
Because they
you
were
know, there was a
Jewish.
fear, as in, you know, they're bigger than us. We gotta
Yeah.
try to,
No,
you know,
wrong.
take
I
that
thought Russia was
down.
Catholic.
He's trying
Also
to
for the
take it down.
oil, maybe? Did you want their oil?
The Bolsheviks were like Jewish, though.
Well, like you said, maybe the leadership, but Russia in general
Well,
is Catholic, aren't they?
yeah,
like Greek
but-
Orthodox or something?
But
Russian
we're talking about
Orthodox.
the leadership, because all the problems in Germany were created by like Marxists, Bolsheviks.
Okay, all right.
Is my understanding. I mean, I could be wrong, and I probably am wrong. And World War II happened exactly like history books said. I'm not trying to make. I'm probably wrong.
Nothing is
None
as
of-
it seems.
None
Nothing
of
is
them
as
were
it seems.
Jewish.
I'm sure there were there was that connection, but I mean, the leadership in Russia at the time had agreed with Germany not to invade. Like Germany agreed not to invade them if they kind of stayed in their lane.
Yeah. But the other thing too is like Hitler did not want war. Hitler wasn't trying to build a world fucking power.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He was just trying to take care of his own, and he was really good for
Yeah.
Germany in the beginning until he went off the rails. But as far as invading Russia goes, I think I agree with like he wanted the power and stuff, but in that he was afraid of them. But he jumped the gun on it instead of, because they aligned themselves. Then it caused them to align with the other European powers. So
Yeah,
he fucked that up real good.
He says yes. He says
Okay.
yes. It was financial. It was financial, and
that's
it
the
was
financial.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. Thank you, Ginger Bailey. Y'all.
All right, we're still going to continue with this. I'm not happy with this channeler. Part 2 of the Afterlife interview with Hitler. And I want to encourage everyone, if like for people who know the history better than I do, please feel free to add your comments in the chat as well. I would really appreciate it. Anything to say, Jennifer, before we jump into part 2?
No. I kind of feel like one of the things I get a little frustrated with the gal who runs the channel, who and I adore her, but she does tend to kind of rapid fire sometimes, and I feel like
Yes.
we get a little bombarded, and we don't get to explore the answers as
I
much
agree.
as I want to hear. Yeah, so I wish we would just kind of like let the answer happen, let the explanation happen. I want to have a conversation with this spirit. I don't want to just hear this rapid fire from her audience questions.
I completely agree. It almost feels like she doesn't want to be there sometimes, and she's just trying to get through the interview. And I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure it's just like, that's just like the way she does. It's the way she's always done it. But it's just like when she asked like, do you still think they're subhuman? And he was like, no. She's like, moving on.
Yeah, like
I was like, no, I wanted him to elaborate.
I want to ask, did he really think they were subhuman then, or was he just
Yeah.
making a political statement? I mean, like, really, what was that about?
Yep. All right, moving on.
Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Adolf Hitler. If you didn't watch it yet, please watch part 1, because I also give the background on Adolf Hitler if you don't know who he is, which is unlikely. And thank you, Ginger Bailey, whose information is going to be in the description box and on the screen. And thank you, Adolf, for staying. And thank you, my lovely son, Eric, for helping out here.
Because I love you, Mama. I love you, Mama. I love you, Mama.
Oh.
He's so
I miss
cute.
that boy. All right, so here are the questions from the community. We'll continue with this. In your own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions from your point of view, have we learned anything from World War II besides what's being taught in schools all over Europe and here in the U.S.?
Yes, Hitler.
Have we learned anything besides what's being taught? So there are some things that we learn outside of school, as in he's talking about it, just individual experience that you have.
Yeah.
And are they asking, Lisa, have we learned things that haven't been written in
Were there
books?
Yeah.
actually gas
Right.
Okay.
chambers?
Probably like anything spiritual.
This is such an irresponsible interview. I want to know, were there actually gas chambers according to Hitler? Yes or no?
I thought they
Was it-
found gas chambers when they investigated the.
Well,
New?
obviously they found gas chambers. Obviously they absolutely 100% found gas chambers. I would never suggest otherwise. I'm just saying that I've heard tell from the other side of the internet that no one should ever go to ever, that there were wooden doors involved and you don't put wooden doors on gas chambers, and that there were chimneys that were built after the fact that were not there originally, and that there's maybe some fishy things going on with the rooms that should have been gas chambers. And again, I'm sure they were all gas chambers. Absolutely, I'm not insinuating otherwise. I'm just saying that I've heard rumor from the other side. I just want answers. I would like Hitler to confirm, yes, of course, there were gas chambers.
Well, that could also be a way to keep the population of the prison population in check. You'll go to the gas chamber. It could just be one of those boogeyman things that they told them. But I think of that scene in Schindler's List when the women get
Schindler's
shaved.
List was fake.
Okay,
Fiction.
go with me on the movie. Just go with me here on this little
Fiction.
moment. Yes, it is a fiction. It's okay. So when they go in and they think they're all going to the gas chamber, and there's all these shower heads up top, and they think gas is going to come out, and then it's just water, and it's a shower. Yeah. So I mean, it could have been a mechanism by which to keep the prison population fearful and in line, or it could have been real, or maybe only one of the camps had them, not all of them. I'm like, who even knows? Yeah.
True. Anyway, I'm just saying that a responsible interview would ask this question.
From this.
Okay. So he says, he's talking about, hold on a second here.
I'm going to mute. The garbage truck is coming, so I'm going to mute just in case.
Okay. He's talking about, racism. He's bringing up racism. He says that we've learned a lot that's not written in the books with racism. And not that we're there yet.
Oh, bullshit.
But we have learned things that aren't.
Bullshit. This bitch is portraying Hitler as a social justice warrior.
No. Post-mortem.
No.
Well, I mean, does it make you a social justice warrior to say that you've learned something about racism? I mean, I don't know if I'd go that. Does it? Okay.
Yes. There's how that was just phrased was very social justicey. We're not there yet with racism, but we're still.
Oh yeah.
It's like fuck you, pink-haired lady. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Taught in the books, and there were some things that were taught outside of the books in the school, he says, that weren't quite right. They were exaggerated. Not about the Holocaust per se, but about the people that were killed. Like only blonde hair, blue eyes, could live, and everyone else was killed. He says that's not what it was. It was more of the German ancestry, and the North.
That's what the Aryans were.
Or the Nords, the Nordic race. He thought was pure. Now some of that was taught, but he says it got exaggerated in a way of just going to blonde hair, blue eyes, but that was an exaggeration.
Okay.
And they were kind of the face of a pure person, but it wasn't. I mean, you could have brown hair and green eyes and not be considered somebody who wasn't pure. There were also people that he said, I don't know why he's going here, but he's talking about, there were people that were judged like if they had an illness, like a handicap, which, or a physical challenge, or rotten teeth, even, he says they were pushed away from being part of the group, right? So so those are some of the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the U.S. Olympic team was in Germany, consisting of African Americans, right? You praised them. Was that your way of sending a message to America due to how African Americans were treated at the time? I don't understand that. So I don't know. Why did you praise them when you were like all for the Aryan race?
Because Hitler wasn't racist like that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Nose itches.
So this was he's talking about for show. He's doing like this is for show
Oh,
to
Bull,
look
come
like,
on.
you know, what do you call that when somebody's like just acting like for the public or whatever? Like it wasn't like he was doing that because it was like, oh, you know, he did think that they were okay, you know, like he didn't have something against them, he's saying, but the praising of that was more for the public, I guess is how
Okay.
he's talking about it.
For
Does
the
that make sense?
athletic ability, was that what?
Yeah,
Okay.
athletic abilities, and for
Okay.
and also just for the public, like trying to say like almost like behind the closed doors you say one thing but out in public
I
you say
see.
another,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah,
Okay.
it was almost like for the public, you know, to, you know, hear him say that, I
Okay.
guess is how he's putting it, if that makes
Optics.
sense.
It's all optics. How did your
Yeah.
government come with such advancements in aeronautics and other devices so quickly? And were you influenced by non-benevolent beings at the time?
He's splitting that answer up and he's saying, first of all, the evil spirits, I guess, non-beloved.
We need to find our own channel to do these afterlife interviews, Jennifer. I'm really convinced of this now.
I want to know about the thrill.
I'm sorry. Like I feel like you and I, if we had someone helping us in channeling, like we would be able, like we would do some fucking lit interviews. Like,
Oh,
can you
yeah.
imagine some of the interviews? We need to find a channel. Do you know any channels?
I don't. I've known people who do drawing down to the moon, but that's a completely different thing, really. But that's not to say we couldn't do a little researchy poo and try and find somebody.
We need to find our own channel to
Does
do these
does
interviews.
Joshua know any?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't know if he's like part of a community of psychics or anything. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, I don't. Joshua like didn't really like any other psychics so far as I know. But,
every psychic's always the best psychic. I'm the best.
Yeah.
Whatever. Those
well,
other
I think he
bitches.
found other psychics like weird and ungrounded and stuff like that. And
Many
so,
are. He's not
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. So no, we need to find a channel. That's
Okay.
gonna be our mission. We're gonna work on this.
I think it would be pretty intense because I don't know anybody else who really does it other than this gal.
We can
Or people who channel like an alien spirit, you know, like Metatron or Rantha or whatever. They'll sit there and do their own channeling right there. But I think an interview with spirit would be really cool.
maybe we can reach out to some of the people that channel for her, and we could steal one of her channels away.
Well, they can do work for both. There's always abundance. Live in abundance. They can work for both.
Well, yeah, we're not going to forbid them from like doing stuff with her, but
No.
we could find it. We could find one of the ones that we like that we think does a good job, and be like, "Can you come and channel Hitler for us because we have additional questions."
And not just them. And there's a few people that I would love. Like I'd love to talk to Robin Williams. There's several people oh God, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
lots of people that would be super cool to talk to.
If we find a channel that can like do this like with us like on a regular basis, like there's so many cool afterlife interviews that we could do.
Oh yeah,
so lit.
Yeah, I agree. Well, especially because you've got a lot of political acuity, and
Yep.
and then I have like the spiritual groundedness. So like I think it would be a whole different bag of worms for sure.
This is a project we need to manifest this, Jennifer.
Summona.
Yeah. Use your witchy powers to help us attract it. We are all everyone put out into the universe. We are attracting the right channel to us.
Oh
the
yeah.
right channel is on their
right
way.
channeler.
They're coming to us right
Medium.
now. We don't know how they're going to come to us. We don't know how, and we don't know why. We don't know. They're just going to get an urge to find me on Twitter and to send me a DM and
Or
say,
watch one of our shows and go,
Yeah.
Did they say they wanted a channel? I do that. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not bad.
Yeah, someone's going to come and channel Hitler for us, and it's going to be great.
Hitler's probably like, man, all these bitches want to talk to me. I'm so tired of this.
Hitler, all the ladies loved him.
He was quite the ladies' man. He was.
But he's saying he was not guided by them. There were some times in times of his life that were attached to him, did not cause him to do the things he did, but they fed on his energy. There were also earthbound spirits that, lower energy that fed on that energy. And then the other part of it he's saying is
See, here's what's gonna happen if we actually get a channel to come and do stuff for us. The Groypers are gonna come out of the woodworks, and they're gonna pretend that they're judging and disapproving because they're Catholic and they can't approve, but they're gonna be sliding into my DMs like, Carlin, can you channel this person? Can you channel this? Here's what you need to ask Hitler. And they're gonna pretend to disapprove, but they're gonna secretly watch.
Well, if we really want to blow their minds, we need to get Yeshua ben Joseph channeled.
Yeah, for real. Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who that is, you're probably Catholic.
we need to do this.
That'd be cool.
The advancements, he says, there was alien technology that they had. There were things that they, yeah. Oh, he said also he stole some of it.
Oh, from
Spies would steal it from other countries.
Oh, okay, all right. What are your thoughts on the Palestinian-Gaza war?
Finally, if he takes the side of Israel, this show is over. Don't.
I thought, didn't we talk? Was this a question earlier?
He's gonna have his own opinion.
Because he's saying kind of the same thing, that it's both sides.
Oh, fuck
but
you, lady.
But it's not okay. So what he does want to say though, that doesn't make it okay for people to hurt each other. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, come
on. Oh, I'm sorry, Hitler would not say that.
No,
remember,
no.
Bad medium.
No, bad pink-haired medium.
Okay. Oh, bless. With love, always balance that karma out with love. That's how.
Is she
that's
Jewish? She must be Jewish. This is what's going on. She was Jewish. Look at she's Jewish, Jennifer.
I have no idea. I mean, that could be Romanian too. I mean, you don't know.
I suppose,
we're all kind of, Well, this is pissing you off. Did you want to try a different interview?
No, we're gonna keep going, but like
the struggle is real.
Because maybe maybe at some point she will stop fucking editorializing and like actually just tell us what Hitler is saying.
I honestly think, and this is going to sound really horrible, this is not my opinion of like how I would act, but most enlightened or beings that have passed on that have a big and broad perspective would see the usefulness in hurting someone. I know that's a horrible thing to say. Yes. I would never hurt someone. Sometimes it's kind of like, and to liken it to, God, I hope that this does not get clipped. Like for parenting, sometimes you punish your child because you're trying to get, and I don't mean spanking or abuse, or sometimes just a timeout or taking them away from taking their video games away. You do that to teach them a larger lesson, and you see the usefulness in it, even though the child does not. The child thinks it's harmful and cries and is angry with you. But then as they learn how to be more of a responsible individual, then they understand why discipline is necessary. And so in that way, and I'm not supporting violence. Violence is never the way to go. But in that way, a being like Hitler who did what he did would have understood his own motivations. And I think she just bunny hopped right over that shit.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There is a reason. It's always for change. Always for change.
Always, yeah.
Like the change that came after World War II. There were many things that happened, so it changed.
Hitler would not have seen that as good.
I was kind of surprised. October 7th was terrible, right? I mean, babies being burned alive and beheaded.
That didn't happen. That wasn't real.
For their children. All that, and hostages taken.
I haven't seen evidence either way. I've heard reports of it, and then I heard it was fake, so I don't know what's true.
The 40 beheaded babies thing was not real. That was completely fake. There's never been. It was.
Oh yeah, that I heard was debunked.
Like,
what about the ones in the ovens?
No, that was debunked. That didn't happen.
I heard that there were babies in ovens, but that was because the moms thought that the ovens would be fireproof, and they were trying to save them from the house burning down.
Yeah, it was something like that. It wasn't that they did it.
Now because of that, and pro-Hamas, it's like they're not even thinking that October 7th even happened. That's
not true,
it.
Alicia. Come on.
So what is going on with this rise in anti-Semitism?
It's not about it. Well,
I mean, they're acting like it's worse. The Jews are worse than the ones who beheaded children and stuff.
Because that didn't happen.
So there's been atrocities, is what Eric is saying, done on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
He's saying. But when denial comes in of things, it's because that's not what they're trying to get their point across, and that's
Okay.
not part of their point, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, in that kind of way. Yeah. So, and again, from a spiritual point of view, there's many things that you learn, many things as an individual and as a community that you learn,
Yeah.
you know, with
Okay.
these things.
Of course.
So,
All right, here's kind of a sad one. Why on earth did you feel that any person truly loved you? And do you think your mama would have been proud of you? Gulp.
Ava Braun loved him.
Oh my gosh.
Of course. A lot of people loved Hitler. Hitler was
in
beloved
his
by
mind,
Germany. Come
he
on.
Oh,
thought
yeah.
he was doing, right? He thought he was doing like, I'm doing the good for the country. Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
he's saying that it got, of course, out of hand. You know, he's saying that from a spiritual point of view now.
Yeah.
That it did kind of, you know, it got to a point where his ego just blew up.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
You were
no.
so adored
I don't know. I
by
think
your
so.
moms.
Editorialized.
Right, and he had like
no.
you know, just that power feed into him. But he's saying that he did feel loved by his mom, but that ended early in
Okay.
life.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess she
true.
died early in his
That's
life,
actually true.
and things kind of changed after that. That's some of the turning points in his life.
Oh,
He was a
wow.
teenager, I guess he's saying,
Oh.
and things kind of changed in his life. That was only one he felt like loved him. I feel like what he's saying is he's showing me too very abusive childhood. He was abused like by his parent, like
boy.
his dad,
Oh.
and
He would have mentioned Ava here
and
somewhere.
you know,
I would
if
think
he was
so.
here and you asked him that question, he would have said no. He wouldn't think his mom would be proud of him towards the end.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
and not because it was like, oh, what did I do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But because there were things that he wasn't proud of in himself,
Oh.
of certain choices and decisions he made, but not to the extent that you would hope.
Okay. Did you have any kids? It's been said that you fathered a son secretly by the name of Jean-Marie Laurette with a very young girl. The truth?
He's saying that he has a daughter. He had a daughter.
Okay.
I see an H or a D in the name. He has
Okay.
and
But no sons.
no.
Okay. Interesting. Did you have a lot of karma to work off once you reincarnated? Well, have you reincarnated?
He's not reincarnated, is
Okay.
what I'm hearing.
Do you have a lot
Yeah.
of karma to work off, like so many of us do?
Some of this was planned ahead of time for like, well, you know, we always do that, but he's saying this was something a little higher up,
See?
as
Okay.
in
Talked about
decided and planned. So not so much karma like you would think. There's certain things he did in life, of course, like all of us, choices
Yeah.
and decisions we make on a
But this
personal
was
level.
a sacrifice
But
you
yeah,
made to help
yes,
the
this is
collective.
something that we had to do. Yeah, that he had to do. Now he says, he's seen, you know, what he was going to get from this as a human being, you know, and society, you know, as a whole. So, you know what he is saying? I don't know if this is going to be one of the questions, but he's talking about after he died, Elisa, that he was like, I've seen this before when even people that talk about near-death experiences where they go in like this healing darkness
Yeah.
kind of thing. And he's showing me that
Limbo.
that's where
Eric did.
What was that, Jennifer?
That's sort of like what limbo is, where you kind of go take a little time out before you get your download.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Eric did also.
he did, yeah, he did too. And he's saying, and it was, I mean, there's no time here, but it was like a year or more that, you know, if you had to give a earth time to it,
Yeah.
that he was there for the healing time. Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
first crossed over and sort of lost your humanness and reflected back on what you did, what did you think? Or was it instantly known that, oh, I did this to help the collective?
No, he was in the healing state immediately after he died. He's
Okay.
saying he went immediately to that place.
Yeah.
But he does show in a life review, he did have a life review, he's saying.
Okay.
So he does show that now it's not similar to all of our life reviews because of part of it being for the collective and for humanity.
Right.
But he does show that he did have one. And he's saying you don't do that. You don't judge yourself. You don't look at it and go, oh my gosh, what did I do?
Okay.
And do that because
There's no right or wrong. They're all experiences.
he's saying
lessons.
it's just an experience, and
Right.
more of the experiences he learned was about his personal self and the way
Okay.
he thought and dealt with things. So
Okay. So what made you choose? I mean, did you have a choice to play Hitler? I mean, it's okay, I'll take one for the team.
he did. He did.
Wow. And
He did have a
did you-
choice.
why did you bite the bullet, so to speak, and do that?
So he's saying that they changed for the better. He's saying, let's see. Learning, what are you saying? Learning what not to do. Learning what not to do in the rights of an individual. He's saying that it is something about the what not to do. All right, for some leaders to learn that over time, even though his was supposed to be, because you can have an argument with that of, well, if it's not what you're supposed to do, why'd you do it? But he's saying that you still learn these things. You learn like where to take war and how to make it, not.
As a reminder, neither Jennifer or I are Christians. We ask that if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. But we don't judge Christians, even though Jennifer came out of a Christian cult. We're not judging you. We are doing our own thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here.
Not about the public, he's saying, pretty much, it's not about that. It's about other, keep it with the military, things like that. He's also saying that he's showing me that he's seen the change ahead of what this was going to do, and that's why he chose to do it, because he's seen all the changes that were coming because of this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, can you speak to your choice of Poland for Auschwitz and other concentration camps? Why Poland? I think that's the place you invaded, and that was the beginning of World War, according to the back story.
So he's talking about them being. So he's saying that this is coming from a spiritual point of view again, but it doesn't sound very nice. He's talking about people and being like lower, not as gosh dang it, I hate when I lose words.
Educated?
Yeah, well, that not educated, but also not worthy. The races, certain races were less of. Okay,
that's racism.
Less than. So, he says that he felt that way about Polish people too, and were there Jewish people in Poland, because he's talking about some Jewish people in Poland, too, and let's see. Yeah, he's talking about things that resources that they had in the country too, that he wanted, and he felt like it was going to be easier to go into that country, and that was his direct. It's almost
no.
I liked the other interview better than this one.
That was not why Hitler invaded Poland. Hitler invaded Poland because there were ethnic Germans that were in Poland out of land that got annexed, and they were being horribly abused, and Hitler was like, them's my people, I'm gonna go get them. Yes. So no. Wrong. Pink hair.
Look up Danzig, you guys, if you don't know what I knew the rock band, but I didn't know the history, and because of some of the other stuff that you've looked into that I was viewing on another channel, I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's why it's significant. And that's not something you find in your little history books either. For some reason, they just blow right past it.
It's like he showed me it's his direction. It was a direction he had, and that was one of his next steps, was that direction. But it did have to do with the people there too. He didn't have very high regard for them at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what information
Well, they were
or
slaughtering
secrets,
ethnic
if
Germans,
any,
so,
were
and
destroyed
raping
when
them, and
Birkenau was burned that we should know about?
He's saying proof of what was done there. Okay, so he's showing me that people were used as like guinea pigs. They tested on them. They did medical testing on them. And there was torture.
No.
There was cruel.
no, I have asked people to be polite. I do not blame the mother for this. I blame the channel for this because she is being completely responsible, but you will not insult the mother, okay? I'm not going to allow it. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, she's a good gal. Carly, can I make like a real nitpicky request?
Yes.
Can we call her a medium instead of a channel? Because we say channel, I think of YouTube channel, and it's fucking me up.
All right, okay, medium.
Medium.
Pink-haired medium.
Thank you. Okay. Not an extra large or a small, a medium.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Cruelty. And he says a lot of this stuff was documented of what they did, and those were the documents that they destroyed was a proof of what they did.
Wow.
Because a lot of stuff what he did, and this is another thing, it's a crime in war, and
War
some of
crimes,
the
for sure.
war crimes. So and more of this became war crimes that weren't war crimes because of him. So that's something else that came out of it,
Yeah. If he had not committed suicide, how do you think you would have died? I mean, I'm sure you've seen different timelines.
He would have died
He thinks he would have
exactly
been
like
killed?
Mussolini.
Okay.
And paraded around the streets.
In prison or in battle?
Yeah.
Or on the
battle.
That was
Well,
where
like
they
what they
killed
did to
themselves.
Saddam Hussein, too.
Yeah. The reason he and Ava Braun killed themselves is he thought he was going to die like Mussolini and be paraded around the streets and all this stuff, and he didn't want that. That's why they killed themselves, and they had their bodies burned. That's why.
I don't know that. So, okay, can I just interject a bit of personal thing? I really do think he went to Venezuela. And I don't think I do. I don't think he died in Germany. I think he let Ava poison herself because he thought he couldn't protect her and him. So he let her do it or shoot her. He shot her. How I forget if she shot herself or whatever. But I think he let that happen. That's what I thought. Okay, she poisoned herself. And then I think he just like fucked off to Venezuela.
Argentina.
Was it Argentina? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, pudding brain. Thank you guys. Yes, Hive Mind is like, no, it's Argentina, Jennifer. Oh my God. Yes. Okay. Wherever. Yeah. So Argentina, I really do think he went there. There's a lot of Hitler Nazi artifacts out there. Did he, was that him or was maybe that just his higher ups? I think it's possible it wasn't him. Maybe he did die in Germany. I don't know. There's something about that theory that makes me go, that sounds right, because Hitler was being used by the big overarching, world government types, and they always in some way they will fake dust. They will find a way to preserve their higher officers, even when they take them down. They always do that. And I think they did that for him. And I think he probably wishes he had just killed himself. I don't know. That's just I don't know, my own sense about it, but she said that he confirmed that he killed himself, but again, she's kind of iffy with her stuff, so who knows?
We're taking her with a grain of salt.
Indeed. I'm allowed to have my own damn opinions. I think it would make a great movie.
This is why we need our own channel. Medium.
Yes, this is why we need our own medium.
We need our own medium.
Okay, so this is about the Mandela effect. I'm going to skip a few questions because it's interesting also. Just caught my eye. And it's about eyes. Many of us were taught and remember you having brown eyes, but now you have always had blue eyes. It's indicated. What color eyes did you have? And is there a reality where you really did have brown eyes? So what do you have, blue or brown?
Blue. He's saying blue. Actually, I can see them. They are like a very pale, blue.
Okay.
He's saying blue. The Mandela effect. Now, this is something
is there a timeline that
yeah, He's saying that it
Ring?
wasn't changed. It wasn't changed,
Okay.
but there are things like rumors that get started, and then people start to see certain things. Plus, there's pictures that look like he has brown eyes. He
Okay.
says, if you look at some pictures,
Yeah.
but it was just it was just something that like started, and people thought, and then just didn't know
Okay.
the truth of it. But yeah.
All right. Did the U.S. help supply Germany in secret during the war, like with jet fuel, ball
No.
bearings, etc., before we entered the war?
Eric says yes. Eric answered that one.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think who was was it FDR?
Well, we
The-
defund
the-
both
I can't remember.
sides.
The Bush
I don't know why I can't
family
remember.
funded the Nazis and the Europeans.
Oh,
They were one of the big bankers.
that makes
They're one of the
sense.
top 5 big mover shaker families.
That makes sense.
It's terrible. But
What?
but he didn't like. Yeah, I think it was FDR that was very anti-Semitic. And Coco Chanel, a lot of powerful people in the U.S.
Isn't
And I
that
think
a
that's
coincidence?
part of why. Is it part of why FDR dragged his feet on entering the war, World War II? Is because go ahead, kill all those Jews. I mean, I think it was
how
really
about
racist.
it wasn't any of our
Right.
Well,
business?
and that's a little bit, yes. Eric's saying yes to this a little bit, but a lot of it was trying to prevent being in the middle of this, trying to be
Yeah.
part, stay out of the big picture of it, because they were part. I have to tell you, Hitler goes, they were part of it. There were people part of it
Yeah.
from our country, but not in the big picture. He
Okay.
says, yeah.
So why
So-
did they help you out with jet fuel and ball bearings, etc.? Just make money, or because they wanted you to?
Money. He said
Yeah.
money. Yep.
Was your rise to power and initiation into World War II funded by powerful people in Europe?
The war is that
Yeah, the war effort.
okay?
Or your rise to power, basically,
Yeah.
and the initiation of World War II.
He said yes. Some yes. Yep.
Anybody that we would know?
No, he's just showing like people that were wealthy within his group, like his not really it's kind of a social group, yeah, but
Okay.
just like you know what I mean. It's nobody like high that we would know, like a
Okay.
king
All right.
leader of somebody. Yeah.
What do you think of the third Antichrist? I don't even know what that is. I guess why you well.
So Eric,
Insane.
I keep distracting myself by saying the word so. It's like I'm trying to like break that habit. And so every time I say it, I distract myself.
I didn't even notice.
But anyway, Eric is telling me, I kind of know what they mean by this. I'm getting what they mean by this. Eric, this is coming from Eric. Eric is saying that the Antichrist is not an individual. It is
Really?
Force, dark.
yeah, it's more like a not an individual, but like I just want to say an energy. There's an energy around
Dark
this,
energy.
like right, yeah, it's kind of dark, yeah,
Force.
dark energy, but it's not like this is a biblical belief. Eric says that there's
Okay.
going to be an Antichrist that comes and walks the earth, but Eric is saying that's not so.
Okay.
Huh.
That's
So
not
what do
so.
you think about
That's
the
interesting.
third dark energy force, Hitler or Eric and Eric?
And Hitler's saying that this is part, and Eric's agreeing, that this is just part of the spectrum. This is part of having both sides, you know, the duality. It's part of how things work, is what Hitler
Even
just said.
evil is still part of light because everything is light. It's just a
Right.
little very
Right.
dim.
Right.
Is there any world leader on Earth that you feel bears similarities to you, Hitler, at the present time on Earth? And Eric, you can chime in if you want to, of course.
Who's the leader of that leader he's talking about of come on, Ginger, get it
Syria,
right.
maybe?
No. South, north and south.
Oh, come on, shut the
Korea.
fuck up. No.
Korea.
Oh,
no.
North Korea. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Come
Yeah.
Okay.
on.
He's pointing him
The
out.
Kim Jong Il or Un or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened had Nazi Germany won World War II? Would the Western civilization end, or would it go beyond that? What would have happened? Eric, you might see that timeline also.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Let's see here. This is a big one. He's showing like it would have been a lot. It wouldn't have lasted, is what his said. And Eric said, no, it wouldn't have lasted. It would have been taken down eventually. It would not have lasted. It wasn't meant to be, so it wouldn't last, is what I'm hearing. But it would have not been. There would have been a lot of people losing their freedom to things.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
All right, one more, and then we will break, and we'll have part 3 at another time.
Okay.
What is your no, it's kind of grammatically incorrect. What were his perspective about people from East Asia, like the Chinese? So what did you think as a human Hitler about the Easterners, the Asians?
He's talking to, he didn't think highly of a lot of people that weren't German, he's saying.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't think high of people unless they were like more the northern, not even just Germany, but he's talking about like all the northern like Dutch and Scandinavians, all that was what he thought was more of a purity, right?
I gotcha.
In his mind. He says that he doesn't even really know where that started, because I asked him that just now.
Okay.
Yeah, where did that ideal of yours start? Where did that come from?
Huh.
But he's saying
It came from the
wasn't
people who
something
have
like he was
created all the
raised to
cool
believe or anything,
things.
but he's saying that he just felt that this is what it should be. It was his belief in what it should be, as in staying pure and crossing.
The tip is this. On Saturdays, we do Socialism Saturday. Like, that's what we do. If you don't want to watch on Tuesdays when we do DISENRAGE, you don't have to. The thumbnails on the feed will tell you what the thing is. The title will tell you what the thing is. Like,
Well, why can't I think of any words? Crossing like ethnicities, you know what I mean? Like crossing different people's ethnicity. But about that, he's saying one thing he does say when he was here as Hitler, that he thought that there was too many, like their country, like he did like he says he did like the way that they controlled their people.
The people.
Like
Boy. Yeah.
They had control over the people, but he said that there were certain.
I like that. Yes, my ex. How do I filter your feed for Socialism Saturday? Socialism Saturday.
There is a search function. The search function that looks like a little.
There is a search function. I probably should make a playlist too, but I'm just lazy.
Well, you can also just search Socialism Saturday on your actual homepage.
Yep.
And it'll bring up just those videos. So that's an easy way to do it as well.
Although sometimes we do socialism in the middle of the week. So, don't discount the midweek streams too. This is just a special Tuesday night thing.
Yeah, this is our getting out of that box and expanding our brain stuff.
Yeah.
Things about the country that he just didn't agree with. He's not really naming something. It's just more like he keeps talking about population. I don't know why. Like a lot.
You feel like there's too many of them?
Yeah, like there should have been a population control of some kind. Remember, this is not me, guys. This is Hitler.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I know you know. Let people know. This is not my opinion.
Well, what do you think about the Chinese now?
He says every single person on this planet has a role to play, and he thinks that everybody needs to be here. Yeah,
I agree. All right. One more question. It's not on here, but about your daughter. Did you raise her? Did you have anything to do with her, or what? Did you help support her? And is she alive
did.
now?
No, she's not. He's showing me, okay, so he's showing me that he did support her financially. He wasn't a big part of her life because of
Busy.
his life. Yeah, busy. And he shows me though that after he died, that they tried to come after her. Like people tried to come after her. She had to escape.
How old was she when she
I did not
died?
know he had kids.
Yeah, that's new
She made it.
information.
She lived to an old age. He's saying
Okay.
she had children and everything. So
Oh,
he had
okay.
grandchildren. So he has people.
There are
A couple. He's showing
descendants
me
of
2
Hitler.
males that still live
No.
in this world.
I wonder if
that
they
are
know.
his descendants.
There are 2 male descendants of Hitler in the world today. Where are they?
They may not know. Like that could have been a family secret. Like don't tell anybody who grandpa was, kind of a thing.
Man, wouldn't that be like an epic mind fuck? We need to start doing a genetic lottery. Like to try to figure this out. We need to start like doing genetic testing. Like, are
Well,
you a
that
descendant of Hitler?
one 14-year-old girl, was she, or maybe she was younger, did like the genealogy of all the presidents of the United States and found that all but 2 were all related to a French king.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was the one that wasn't was Donald Trump, and I'm trying to remember the other one. I don't remember. It was another, like, he was just a one-term president, but including Barack Obama, all of them are related to this French king. I bet you could find out who's related to Hitler. You'd
We're
have
gonna
to.
have to find out someday.
Well, okay, we'll get right on that.
And he says that
Do they know that?
he moved to Australia. He's showing me Australia. Like she fled.
Oh.
They're in Australia.
Oh,
And
okay.
she got to live a normal life and everything after that. But she
Okay.
was like he kind of says like hunted in a way, but they were looking for her.
Yeah.
Trying,
So
yeah.
did she know? I guess it did take your daughter to work day.
Yeah, no, that didn't work out too well. But yeah, she knew. She knew things he was doing. What he's saying is now all of a sudden there's a lady standing next to him. So this is her. Yeah. And she's saying that she eventually it was a secret for a very long time in her life of who she was. Yeah.
It was kept a secret from her? Or
no,
she
kept it a secret.
Oh,
she did.
Wonder. Did you agree with what he did? Or were you like appalled? Or
she said no. She said no. She did not. She did
All
not.
right. That's it. Hitler or Adolf, daughter, whatever your name is, and Eric, y'all have anything else to say before we wrap it up, before we close?
He's just saying thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for letting him have a voice and for doing this. And he's thanking you for all that you do for people, and all that you help. Yeah, he's thanking you. And Eric doesn't have any questions. He said he just loves you. I love you, Mom. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ginger. You guys check her out, please. Ginger Bailey. Information down below.
Right. Let's see. There is a part 3. Jennifer, do you feel up to doing another part?
I'm down. All the puppies are sleeping right now, so I'm in a good space.
I've
been working on my hat.
I think that part 2 was a little disappointing to me. But,
yeah.
But you know what? We see things through on this channel. We see things through to the very end, even when they suck.
We are tenacious.
And we're going to do it.
That's a Capricorn Aries cross trait. We're very tenacious.
No, we're not giving up. Mm-mm.
No. Mm-mm. Never give up, never surrender.
Nope. Goonies never say die. All right, let's get started.
Hello, beautiful people and beautiful Ginger. You have something in your eye? Was that your eye?
No,
Okay.
I just watery. Just watery.
Just watery. All right, guys, guess what? We are going to do the last and third part of our interview of Adolf Hitler. Do I need to read his backstory to you guys? I don't think so. Anyway, I did read the backstory of the first 2 parts, so you can go back to part 1 and part 2 if you like. If you want to find out more about Ginger, who does so many things, exercise, nutrition, channeling, all sorts of stuff, then go to the description box and we'll also put it on the screen. Ginger, did I get something that you have something new coming up here? a new sale?
Oh yes. Oh, did you get that? Yeah, I just started the fall sale. The fall
All
sale just
right.
started. Yeah. And you know what? I kind of want to say that to let people know this, I never say this, but to let people know that I know that my schedule a lot of the times is scheduled out a month or so, a couple months. So just to let you know that that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to wait. Just let me know. You know, if maybe you're wanting in sooner or something, because not everybody does. Some people are okay with it. And I can let you know when things open up, because people do reschedule, and things open. So I just want to let people know that. Yeah.
Especially if you have urgent needs too, probably. Right.
Right. And I do try to make sure I can get that situation, if we're in that kind of situation with somebody, in as soon as possible.
Okay.
So.
All right. And we also have Eric. Eric, hi, my lovely boy living in the afterlife. Did you bring Hitler with you today?
Yeah, he's saying, hi, Mama, I love you. And Hitler's right there next to him. Same as last time, very just like straight face, not a lot of expression at all. Still in the same thing he was wearing last time. It's like a gray type suit. It just looks like a suit, old style suit. But he's just kind of sitting there. And he says hello. He goes, hello
back. Thank you for coming back. You to get yourself heard, I guess. So, Hitler, what do you think about Klaus Schwab and what he's doing to humanity right now? I don't even know who is that.
God, that's
Maybe
an
it's a
interesting
German.
question.
Doesn't know who Klaus Schwab is?
I don't know.
I think that she's pretty checked out of politics, to be honest.
That could be. Should
see
we
what he
fill in the
said.
people in the back who Klaus Schwab is?
You want to go ahead?
Oh, he's kind of the main spokesman for the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, I believe, is what they're calling themselves these days. And so he's like the main mouthpiece for them, and he is touting all things. Well, I mean, covered up, but it does sound an awful lot like socialism. Everybody, you'll own nothing and be happy. You're gonna eat some bugs, and we're gonna. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, he's a bad dude. He's very arrogant, and I think that's the thing that he just talks down his nose like this old bullfrog. Like he just knows everything, and he knows what's best for everyone, and he shall organize us like the little cattle that we are. I don't like him.
Yep. Fluffy Cow Respecter says, I'm kind of jelly. Eric gets to chill with the big man. Listen, we're going to find ourselves a medium, and we're going to do it ourselves.
I think we should.
Yeah.
This here.
I should know these things.
I don't either. But let's see what he says. He says something about this not being this person that you asked about is something with I'm not sure about how things work like this in governments, different ways that they do things, but he's showing something like this person has like the mind kind of like he did in like a world kind of economy or a world order or something like that.
Got that right.
Yep.
But what he says is this is temporary.
Good.
This person is not going to be in the position he's in for long. But now I also want to say, because he's going, I don't have a lot of opinions. Like he's not giving opinions about what's going on right now. Because what he sees, a lot of things are from spiritual point of view, but he can give it from a Hitler point of view, but it's not always going to be the nicest. He just said,
give it from a Hitler point of view,
but he will, if it's asked. He will.
Hitler, were you possessed in some way, or just utterly disconnected from source and inner love?
Oh, come
By the way,
on.
these are all from our community. These questions.
He was not possessed. He says he had what you would call a God complex. And the more power he received, and the more powerful he became, the bigger that got. Big ego. And something he wants to say is a lot of times people will look at like, how could you just go on and live a life, your normal life and not feel bad about what you do? And he wasn't wired that way, he said, for reasons, spiritual reasons, but he also, because of environment and growing up and who he was. So it was both spiritual and environmental, I guess. But he wasn't wired in that way. He didn't have a lot of feeling, like he didn't feel things like empathy.
Was
He
he
didn't
on
have a
the
lot of
spectrum?
empathy.
Or like Asper?
No,
Okay.
no, he just did not have. And he, okay, Eric is saying this has something to do with what his purpose was while he was here.
I mean, that
The only
makes-
way to do what he
that makes sense if you think about it. Like that makes just from like an evolutionary perspective. Like if he had a lot of empathy, he wouldn't have been able to do what he did.
Oh yeah, he had to be a little bit psychopathic, just to have that. Because what is it? The frontal lobe is kind of like not reacting in a normal way. Yeah, and he had to have. I think when he started life out, when you study his early life, he was actually quite humble, and he didn't have a big ego, but like any runt who gets bullied, which he kind of did here and there, they will develop once they get that taste. They're like, oh, I could be the big dog.
And you think, but he was the savior of his country.
Yeah.
Like for real. I mean, like for real. He was the
Yeah.
savior of his country. His entire country loved him. All these people were showing up at these rallies and sending him their energy. That's gonna get clipped out, whatever. I don't care. Like, and so who wouldn't like develop an ego when that is your daily life?
Oh yeah. Well, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the same thing goes for, and I know this sounds like a sidestep, but it's kind of the same thing. You develop a megalomaniac complex. Look at some of these people in Hollywood. Look what's going on over there with, what is it, P. Diddy or whatever. I mean, like there's shit that have, like they get up here and they get the God complex because they think my shit don't stink no more. Everybody does what I say, blah, blah, blah. I can control everything. And yeah, they get a little crazy.
That whole thing is gonna become insane. I cannot wait. I'm streaming that entire thing. I don't care that I'm not a lawyer. We're just going to do it from like, well, I don't know what angle I'm going to take. I'm going to be like, I'm not a lawyer. I just want to be entertained.
Well, it's just like we did with the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing. It's like, I need to watch all of this.
I never watched any of that because I thought it was stupid at the time. And now I'm regretful and I kind of want to go. I have always wanted to go back. I've always thought about, what if I just went back and watched it? Like a throwback. Maybe over the summer or something. We go back and watch the Amber
honestly,
trial.
what I recommend if you want the Cliff's Notes version is watch the Netflix documentary on it.
Okay, that's a good suggestion.
It's only like 3 episodes or something. It will give you the Cliff's Notes. You don't have to sit there through 500 hours of court TV, and it gets you everything you need to know. And Amber Heard is a total see you next Thursday. So,
man, I just remember when she did like a hit of coke, like while she was on the stand. Do you remember that?
No,
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, she definitely did. She did a bump of coke. Yeah, she did. She did like one of these.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like so obvious. There were clips all over. I was like, oh, like that's some ballsy move to do like a bump of coke when you're on the fucking stand in court.
I don't know. I think that and the fact that she actually crapped the bed just to leave that little deuce there for Johnny, I think those are my 2 favorite Amber Heard moments.
Jeez, crazy. Okay, let's keep going.
He was supposed to do while he was here was to not have that, empathy or a way to feel, bad about something. So it was almost like he, and then Hitler, he's going, it was kind of like if you want to think about kind of running like on a robot kind of mind in a way, but then you also have that ego that's running you kind of thing.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It also sounds like you have reptilian roots.
Hitler's a reptilian?
Do you have any sort of alien roots?
Avians are not reptilians.
Yeah. He said yes.
No!
He said yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Were you part of any
pause
secret
that,
societies or cults?
Just go. Have a moment. No, that's not real. Hitler was not a reptilian. Come on. That's just not correct.
First of all, the question was phrased poorly. This was a poorly phrased question. He did not have in his DNA necessarily. Maybe he did, but he didn't. Who he worked with was the Vril. Maybe he was like, so she's saying yes. The medium here is saying yes, but I think what we're getting at is the alien influence. And of course, Alicia here, bless her, we love her, did not go into that anymore, because I would have been like, wait a minute. Like, I would ask some more questions. I need more information here. But yeah, no, he did not. I don't think he first of all, he was not a reptilian, but he was working with otherworldly beings. And were there lizard people involved? Yes, I think there were. Was he one of them? No, I don't think he was. He was a puppet. They turned him into a puppet. He was so eager to have power that he was easy to control as long as they kept giving him power. So that was a poorly phrased question, but I think he was saying yes because there was influence there.
I think he was Kabbalism, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's saying yes. He's saying yes to this. He is. He's saying yes. He's only given me one though, just one that he's a part of. Yeah, and
you don't have to give the name.
Sounds like something what you were saying. Whatever you were saying, Elisa, it kind of sounds like that because he said
Jewish mysticism. That's really odd, isn't it?
No.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. It's the K though. It has like a K to it or something.
Sorry, what would you say, Jennifer? Sorry.
He was really fascinated and interested in mysticism and the occult of all kinds, including Jewish mysticism, because to him, magic was magic, power was power.
Well, that's what I keep trying to tell the Groypers, because the Groypers like give me crap because I use like the Toth deck for tarot and stuff like that. They're like, Carlin, you're literally practicing Kabbalah. I'm like, listen, like if some other force is using this, I want to know how to use it too, because energy is just energy, and you can use it for whatever your purposes are, and it doesn't need to be used for evil. If you can harness the energy and use it for good, like that's a good thing. And they're like, no, you're practicing magic. You're gonna go to hell because you need to become a Catholic. And I go, okay, all right, Groypers, all right.
Oh, that's sweet that they care, though.
They meanwhile they want to take me to church, Jennifer.
Oh,
they really do. They're like one of Nick's kind of like top guys. He was like, Carlin, will you come to mass with me when we go at the next staff pack? And I was like, yes, spirits, and I will go to mass with you.
That was so sweet. Mass is actually, I think everybody should attend, especially if you can get an old school Latin. I got to see Mass in Notre Dame once, ages ago. It was magnificent. I highly recommend a beautiful Catholic church Mass in Latin at least once. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You'll see a lot of pagan influence in there too with their altar. Everything on there is from old pagan altars. So it's just a really beautiful thing though.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been to Mass before. My entire family is Catholic. Like I am the black sheep of the family. I have been to Mass before. It won't be my first time. I won't get smited going in the church or anything.
Dang. All right. Was it benevolent or was it like satanic? That's all I need to know.
It was about power. Okay. It was more about power and numbers. It was about the more people you have behind you. It was networking, that type of thing. But it wasn't satanic. No.
All right.
No.
Were you groomed or did you rise to power by yourself?
But what was the first part?
Were you groomed into power?
Oh.
Did you rise to power by yourself?
He would say that he had people that backed him up. So it's not so much he rose by himself, but not groomed either, really.
Encouraged, facilitated.
Yeah. It was more so a product of just who he was and things he went through growing up and wanting that control and wanting that power and thinking I can do it better than anybody else and this way and that. And he goes, I was very good at convincing people. Is what he's saying. He's like, I was very good at convincing people. I could make it better. Follow me,
including the masses. Your ranting speeches.
Yeah. Briefly.
Before it got worse,
an addict or a user?
Yeah.
Or neither?
Both. He said both.
What were you
Both.
addicted to mostly?
Meth.
He shows me things that he did to stay awake. So
Only morphine and
okay.
cocaine.
Oh, it sounded like
and-
he was on uppers during his speeches, so I wouldn't
he's
doubt it.
showing uppers. He did sometimes drink. He drank some, but it was mostly things to keep him up,
Okay.
and he just liked that feeling. I'm kind of feeling like too. He's going like something with his mind. Let me see what he's saying here. Okay, so he's talking about not having an endorphin, like the endorphins, normal endorphins, like we do.
Yeah.
But he more said it like the chemistry, but Eric is saying endorphins, is what he means. So this made him feel bulletproof, he just said, okay, and untouchable, and it just made him feel good.
All right. What were your motives? I mean, did you have a clear vision, or were you just confused and mentally ill?
Oh, he had a vision. He's saying, I had a vision. Most of the motives were about what he thought the human race should be.
Okay.
He's
Creating
saying,
the perfect
yes,
human
yes,
race.
and then also to rule more than one country, of course. He wanted like a world order type thing eventually. These were all his goals, and his visions, and whatever it took to get there. He's like, I didn't care who I killed or walked over, or even people that were close to him.
No. All right. Did you ever feel remorse or like regret after giving orders to kill someone? And did you ever kill someone yourself personally, or did you just order people?
He says no, not himself, but he has
Super chat from Kino.
Hey, Kino.
Was Hitler's mustache a choice? Sorry, not sorry. Saw a title card for the stream. Hail, thank you. I think it was a choice, but we're not like we're working Jennifer and I are working very hard at finding our own medium to actually channel Hitler and be able to. Can you like that would actually be such a lit stream if we did a live channeling of Hitler?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Now you're getting me excited.
Lit. That would be lit if we did a live channeling and people could ask questions like Hitler. What the mustache? Really?
Well, in one of the documentaries about him, they showed that he almost died of mustard gas in World War I, and he had a full mustache, and the mustache prevented his mask from going on. So then it just kind of showed him shaving it so it could fit better.
Huh.
And he kept it. Now that could have been artistic interpretation, but it looked logical. Not saying that that's what happened, but I was like, well, that makes sense. So that could be why.
Yeah. Fascinating.
There's actually a name for that. Charlie Chaplin used that mustache too. A lot of silent film stars. There was a name for it, and I don't remember what it is. If anybody in the hive mind knows, let me know.
And now no one else is ever allowed to have that mustache again.
Yeah, I wouldn't. But yeah, it was something that was popular, like in the silent film era.
I saw someone on Twitter today. There was the New Republic did this epic cover of Trump where they merged Trump's image with Hitler's image, and so I saw someone put that on Twitter today, and they were like, Trump should grow out a little mustache just to troll them. I was like, if Trump, I swear to God, if Trump wins this election, Jennifer, if Trump after he's already won the election, if he doesn't grow out a little fucking mustache, it is the missed opportunity of like all time. It would be the greatest thing that's ever happened. Trump wins the election and then he grows a fucking Hitler mustache.
That would be the biggest, baddest, worst thing he could possibly do. Your advice is awful, Carlin. But it would be hilarious.
Come on.
Both him and what's his name need to come out with little mustaches.
I'm tweeting that.
The whole Congress needs to have those. Oh God, that's No, that would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah. All right. Carlin, if he grew out a little mustache, would you vote for if Trump had the balls to grow out a Hitler mustache before the election? Yes. Yes. I'd be like, Trump, I can't even be mad at you anymore, Trump. I can't be mad at you anymore. Like, I can't.
Dear Mr. Trump, please grow a Hitler mustache to gain my vote. Thank you.
Mhm.
Love, Carlin.
Yep. True. True.
It's fucked
All right.
up.
Let's go.
He showed me that when he was younger, that he would hurt animals.
Mm.
So you know, he had killed animals. But he's saying that no,
I don't believe that.
no remorse.
I don't believe that. Hitler loved animals. No, that's bullshit. No, Hitler loved animals.
Yeah, he was an animal. Well, someone said that they looked up what he did to his dog Blondie, like that he really loved and pampered, and that he did end up doing something horrible to it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I'm kind of in a sensitive spot with dogs right now. So, but that could have also been because, you know, people do crazy things when they're about to lose, and sometimes they take their animals with them. I had a very dear friend who poisoned himself and his dog to kill himself. Thankfully, both of them survived, but people do strange things in desperate times, and he may have done something. I don't know if it was because of that but let's not dwell on that. But yeah, no, he was an animal person for sure, at least that we can see outwardly.
Yep.
It was the job.
Yeah.
And he just said it just like that. It was the job. You know, kind of like it was what needed to be done. He looked at
serial killer. Do you have
hang on, Jennifer? There's a question that came on Rumble. It came in a while ago, I think, but I just saw it. So Christians would say that you're talking to demons. I'm just curious how you answer that, or is it even worth answering? We're not talking to demons. That's how we answer it. This is not demonic energy. No.
For some religions, everything that's not Jesus or God oriented is demonic. And that's just how they think. That's how my church thought. It's all demons. All of it's demons. It's just easily explained. It's just demons. Go away. But they miss out in the nuances by thinking that way, by thinking so two-dimensionally and so binarily.
True.
Well, he kind of he says yes. He says like as in not having that empathy and just having your thoughts, you know, focused on what the outcome, what you wanted and what it took to get there. You didn't really worry about like how it affected others. He just said.
So you're like a psychopath or sociopath. I can't remember which is which. I think psychopath is worse. Right. So
yeah.
Did you lack love in your childhood?
Or
lack love in your childhood? Or did you suffer some sort of trauma or abuse during childhood? Neglect, sense of abandonment.
So sense of abandonment was one of them. He's talking about when his mother died. A lot of things changed then when his mother died. That was the only person that really showed affection towards him. But he didn't get a lot of love. No. After that. Yeah. And even with her, it was he knew that she, you know, loved him, and you know, cared about him, right? Yeah. It wasn't extreme, like where she doted over him or anything. It wasn't that kind of thing. But besides that, nobody else. And again, he's saying I didn't have the capacity for that anyway.
Oh yeah.
Even as a younger boy, he didn't have that capacity to feel it.
Yeah. All right. What level or frequency or vibration did you go to when you crossed over? And what is
so that? I think I remember us talking about in the first one, but he's talking about the vibration changes for everybody when they leave this physical body, and it is increased, you know. Yeah. But what he shows me is he went in directly into this darkness,
like here.
Yeah, and it was. the healing that he needed. And I know that, there's going to be people out there like, what, healing for him, kind of thing. But if you take souls, all souls, if you understand what it is to be a soul, it's not the same with the ego. Everybody is, they're not that way on the other side. There's not like bad guys on, I guess, per se, unless there are lower level entities, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
But they're different beings, and they're needed for the whole spectrum. So he's saying that he went into this darkness, and it was a lot longer than the average, even though there's no time, but for our point of view, it was a while, like a year or two, something like that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. A long time.
What past life affected your life as Hitler and your hatred for Jews?
So that's not, he doesn't have one past life that made him do this in this life. Okay. But he has had, and I want to jump to this first. He's showing me a future life because I think this is kind of interesting and now again, we choose. Eric's like, remember, we choose to go through certain things. We're not forced to, have karmic debts paid. We choose to experience it. But he's showing me that he's this child that has a disease where, almost like Stephen Hawking, Eric is saying, that kind of thing, where he eventually can't, something like that. It's not that, but it's something similar.
A neurodegenerative thing, right?
Yes, where his mind works very well, okay, but his body does not work. And it's very torturous for him in this life. And he's not saying that he went and did that to be tortured because of what he did, but he did. Part of it was like, he's not saying it's all because of that, but part of it was because he wants to experience the other.
I just want to say that when I got in trouble for tweeting Hitler went to heaven, I talked about the fact that sometimes people make choices to live certain lives in which they may be oppressed severely in some way. And I was like, I would never do that.
That's exactly how they sound too. Well,
it is exactly how they sound.
I was thinking with this future life agreement that he seems to be forming right now, it seems like that, again, about balance, not about penalty. He lived a life of ultimate power. Now he's choosing to live a life of ultimate helplessness. So it's like you experience the opposite to achieve the balance. That's why it's not a reward or penalizing system. It's experiencing opposites to get the balance. So you see both points of view, to understand the whys. And then also, if I may, because this has been bothering me for a year, the whole Hitler went to heaven thing. Don't say heaven ever. Just like you don't say hell. If you don't believe, just say Hitler moved on.
But it was the most triggering thing I could say at the time, Jennifer. I was talking to Christians.
Because of it, my dear.
You know what? All for the better, because without that experience, I don't know that I would have the perspective I have today. That was like true story. Like in retro, like it sucked for a couple of days, honestly, but like on the whole, I'm really glad I went through that. That exposed PragerU to me. That exposed the conservative machine to me. That exposed so many things where I was like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I see how all this shit works now. Okay.
You do run hard and fast. I'll give you that. So
you know, if that's what needed to happen for me to ascertain that knowledge, fine. You know?
There you go. That is how you take responsibility for your lessons, kids. You just saw it in lifetime.
Yep. Something similar. She talked about the same thing that messed up Michael J. Fox. Yeah, I mean something like that.
Oh, that's Parkinson's. What she said, Stephen Hawking. He didn't have Parkinson's. Honestly, I'm not sure what he had. I can't remember. Debilitating. I'd have to look it up. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, that would be a life of ultimate helplessness. So that would be the opposite lesson for sure.
Mm-hmm. And without going through that whole experience, I mean, would I have been able to see October 7th as clearly as I saw it? I don't think so.
Yeah. There would have so if you were meant to see that event that clearly and didn't do that, you would have found another way to Learn what
Yes.
you need to learn. It will happen if it needs to happen. It's going to happen, period.
True.
And maybe this was actually the lighter way to do it. There, you might have done something even harsher. Like, I mean, so this could have been the easy way.
I might have accidentally kicked a much more severe hornet's nest than the hornet's nest that I kicked.
You never know from what you're being saved. That's why we have to live in gratitude, even when sometimes we kind of screw ourselves up a little bit. Just live in gratitude. I'm glad I'm here. It could have been worse.
Everything always works out in its own best good for you.
Yes, it does.
Side of it.
Yeah.
Now he's showing me a past life where he was a slave.
Hmm.
Like, and he's showing this like
Oh.
back in it's like Egypt era.
Oh, I knew it.
Or before
Wow.
ice, yeah. Where he was treated bad, a slave. He was tortured a lot. Now again, he's saying that didn't make me come into this life and be Hitler, but it's different lives where there were opposite effects.
Right.
And usually what it's about is switching. But this one was a very particular choice that he came in to do.
To teach the collective, right?
Right. And to make big changes. Okay.
Big changes. He was a catalyst of sorts.
Right.
Just like
Right.
Jesus was and Buddha and all that.
So he's saying too, and I'm not sure if this was a question before or if it's going to come up, but he's talking about, he's saying that he did have a somewhat of a life review, not the same as a lot of us do, because he didn't do a life review for what, you know, a lot of what went on with him as Hitler and killing
Yeah.
people as the Jews and stuff. He's saying that this was things just in his personal life, because he wasn't very, you know, he was a nice person to some people, but he still was very narcissistic personality. And about him, it was always about him, all about him. So he did have to go through some reverses, as in seeing and feeling what others went through. He also,
Can I interject
that's
something here?
interesting. So
Yes.
he just said that that's also
Go ahead.
Let us not forget that even though Hitler was the leader, he had hundreds of other equally, if not worse, more devious, evil people under him. So a lot of people, they'll blame Hitler. Everything's on Hitler. Don't forget, there were people who carried this shit out with gusto. There
Oh,
were
yeah.
evil people under him that supported it and maybe even did shit he didn't know about, because they were reveling in their own ability to be, Joseph Goebbels, exactly, Renan. That's Renan, sorry, is exactly that kind of stuff. There were the leaders of some of those of the camps. There were people who went around hunting for hidden Jews, you know, people that were hiding Jews and the Jews that were hidden. These people were not good people. Yes, there were some who were just like doing their orders because otherwise they would have been killed. That's a whole nother thing, but he was not the only big baddie here. So I think people often lump responsibility for everything that happened on him. Now, was he in charge? Was he sending out the marching orders? Yes. But again, there were people who got a little they started feeling the power too. And I would bet that he didn't know everything that was being done in his name. No leader does, unless they're being turned in, which nobody did, because that was another thing that everybody was afraid of, you know, turning each other in. So I think there was a whole nother level of darkness operating with and under him. So when everyone says, oh, Hitler did all these whole things, don't forget, he had a rational legion of real bad assholes that were helping him or playing out their own thing. Just saying.
I agree.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think you put it beautifully. I agree
Oh,
with you.
good. Yay.
in that healing, okay, when he first came out, he did have to go through and see what the people went through. And it's not so much he felt it in that depth you would like with a regular life review, but that was a process he did go through. He chose to go through that to feel that, because there is growth in that.
Of course.
Yes.
Did you have one or more incarnations in Atlantis? If so, what role did you have?
What an interesting question.
They always ask this, I think.
Trying to prove Atlantis.
He's saying yes. He's saying yes to that. Oh, he's showing me like a very short-lived life there.
Oh.
Very short-lived life. He almost shows me like where he worked on like building things, like almost
Okay.
like a, I don't know, I don't understand what this is, but it's like building structures
Okay.
that they
An
had.
architect.
And
People say he was an
he
architect.
fell off or something hit him,
Okay.
and he died in an accident of that. But he
Uh-huh.
wasn't there. It was a very short life. It was a young adult. Yeah.
So, were you an Atlantean or one of the aliens that hung out in Atlantis?
Atlantean. He
Okay.
says Atlantean. Yeah.
Have you reincarnated?
From a human point of view, no.
Okay.
From a human point of view, no. But of course, again, spiritual point of view,
There
we're
is no
already
time.
there. But
Oh,
that's
that's
There is
so-
no time.
woo!
There is
That's
no
so-
time.
whoa,
There
you
is
know,
no
like,
time.
my
There
head's
is no
just so-
time. Every week we have to remind Jennifer there is no such thing as time. Everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening right now.
La 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 la.
In some timeline, Hitler is already future reincarnated in his future life. Because there is no time. Everything that has ever happened is there is no time. I'm making a t-shirt just for you, Jennifer, that says there is no time, and it's gonna have a melted clock on it, like a dolly melted clock. I'm gonna remind myself to do that. I'm taking a screenshot of this. We're gonna call that the Jennifer special.
I ain't saying shit. I have no words. I'm completely flatlined.
Oh, that was beautiful. You know what? This moment made up for all of the things that this pink-haired woman got wrong.
You just gotta keep pushing that red hot button, don't you? Just keep pushing it right there.
You need to learn this, Jennifer. This is a lesson I need to teach you. There are
What
many.
if I'm right?
There are many. You're not right. Okay, you're not right. There is no time. Every spiritual person will say this. You're only hanging on to it because you're a fucking Capricorn.
What?
Yes.
No,
You
am
are
allowing
rigid
myself
in your
to have
approach,
my
and you are
three-dimensional
stubborn.
experience. I'm allowed to have my three-dimensional experience and let myself be limited by the laws of such. I like my linear time. Thank you. I do believe there are places where there
You
is no
literally
time.
believe in fairies and elves, and you have entities popping up in your house that like would
Not this
freak
one,
me.
yeah.
And there are ghosts, and like there's witches, and so like you believe in all that. You practice witchcraft, Jennifer. You witched me in Boulder, and you're telling me that believing there is no time is a step too far.
I didn't say it was a step too far. You're welcome to think what you want. Be all the omnipresent single moment that you want to be. It's totally fine. I don't care what you think. It does not bother me. I like that there's time. I think time is useful. And I think it serves a purpose in the physical realm. I agree with you that there is no time in the spirit realm. It's a duality to me. Two different things. Just say it.
Time isn't real.
It's fine.
Like,
But
I want to get paid by the hour. Just the same.
Are you living in the same life Ginger and I are living in?
no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. How can we raise our children to connect more to their inner guidance and universal love to sort of prevent any new tyrannical personalities from developing? Give them love, teach them to love themselves, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, Eric's going to answer this. Okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Eric's going to answer this. Because he went like this. He kind of looked like that at Eric. Like,
Okay.
Like,
Take
and
it.
Eric goes, I'll answer it. So there is a journey we all have, Eric's saying. Okay. And you can't stop what is fate. there are, of course, free will choices that change our path and how things maybe will last, or how quick it'll happen, or how hard it'll be. And some things, will happen or won't happen, but not the things that are set, like the fate that we chose to go through so much. So, the best thing you can do, Eric is saying, you raise them with understanding.
Okay, I gotta pause.
All right, somebody at the door.
Okay, you get it? Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Raise them with like an unconditional love and understanding, and try not to judge. Try to see where behavior is coming from instead of judging the behavior. See where it's coming from, and know that also it's their journey.
Oh,
he says.
Oh, I had to pause. Yeah.
Okay.
I can.
That's okay.
Okay, sorry about that. The groomer finished a lot earlier than I thought. So.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Life. It's life. Life happens.
I know, it's life.
Can't
Okay,
stop it. Just like what we were talking about, Eric said, life happens. So, he wants to say that, you can also raise a child with all the love in the world and understanding.
I know.
And then if it's their journey,
contract journey, yeah.
Right. To do certain things that maybe you see as not right or not good or hard. Okay. You can't stop that, but you can be there for them and you can support them.
Of course.
Yeah. And just to, treat others the way you want to be treated too. You teach them. And I know that's an old saying, but it still stands. Eric says.
Of course, it's common sense.
Yeah.
All right, last question. From an afterlife perspective, what is your message, Hitler? Hopefully of love and peace to the world.
Okay.
Hopefully of love and peace.
Let me see here. So he says this is not going to probably sound like it would come from him.
Fuck Israel.
He's saying, okay. He's saying that let me try to get this right. When you work together with others, he says, and the goals that you have, I'm trying to get what he's saying here, and the goals that you
filtering.
have include more than yourself.
Okay.
Again, he's talking about make sure that it benefits all.
The greater good.
The greater good. And he's saying that always remember that your perspective, because this is some of the things that he learned, your perspective about things or the way you see things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's reality. Okay. He says, yeah. And just take responsibility. And this is the part people aren't going to probably not like this, but take responsibility for your actions, because he did not. Okay. He did not, no matter the consequences, he just said, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Eric, do you want to add anything or ask Killer a question? Any last comments? And you too, Adolf, if you want to add anything.
So Eric is just saying that he wants people that are watching this to know that he understands those who don't quite see, how somebody like him would not be suffering or punished, on their side, because it does hurt people. And he wants people to know. He wants people to know that I feel you, I hear you, and I care. But that is the way it is on the other side.
Very difficult.
Right. And that he's like, and so just ask yourself, is it true? And you'll feel the answers coming through.
Absolutely.
You will. Yeah. And Hitler just wants to say thank you for giving him a voice, and letting him speak.
And thank you, Ginger, for being such a good channel for both of these guys. So we're probably going to have a session on the second Trump assassination threat or attempt. I would call it a threat.
Good. All right, that is the end of the Channeling Hitler 3-part series. Final thoughts, Jennifer.
Well, I mean, I do feel like they skirt around. Just when it starts getting interesting, they move on.
Yeah.
And they skirt around stuff. And that kind of makes me go, could we do better? I mean, it's not very investigative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want. I really want them to get to really dive, to ask things that are challenging. And I know, like, she's not asking questions, her own questions. She's asking her audience's questions. I'm not familiar with her audience or how deep they are, what their perspectives or politics are. But I think when talking with spirit, you got to put politics aside and ask about the experience and the mission, the purpose.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like we lost a little bit of that.
I feel
liked
like
it.
so I started watching her a lot. Like, she used to be literally the only thing I would watch on YouTube. Like, literally, like, 'cause I was never into like political YouTubers, stuff like that. And so around, I think, like 2015, 2016, 2017, something around there, I was watching her a lot. She used to be so much different than she is, and she used to actually get bullied by her audience about her politics. So I think she was more like a kind of like Ron Paul libertarian, where she was like, we shouldn't really be involved and people shouldn't be taking our guns and stuff like that. And I think her audience like bullied her into like not saying
Just
things,
backing off, not
backing
asking the
off.
hard questions.
And especially after like Trump got into office, I think that it got really probably bad for her. And I think it's a shame because, like, I look at her now and I don't want to say she's phoning it in, because I think that she does this because she believes this is her work with her son in this lifetime. This is like, they've been doing this for years and years and years, and it's like there's so much good content on her channel. Like, there's really just an amazing amount of content, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like you don't want to like hang it up, but it almost feels like her heart's just not kind of like in it
Well,
anymore.
also probably really scared of the subject matter. I mean, she's doing something bold without being bold with
Yeah.
it. And that's okay. That's a step, you know, but I really do think she kind of has that fear factor of like, oh my God, if I try to make him look like he's not a villain, or, you know, if I ask questions that don't make him look like a villain, you know, the first interview she did with her. I think you did it while I was on vacation. She did an interview with Hitler that I found a lot more insightful and interesting.
Yes. Different channel. Actually, the channel that did that one is one of my favorite channels that she's ever worked with. So
I like that gal. Yeah, she's cool. So I do tend to think that she soft shoes it a little bit, but I think she's just trying to be really cautious and not start shit.
Yeah.
You know, I think she's very aware of the shaky ground on which she treads.
Yeah. Well, I think our big takeaway from tonight is we need to find ourselves a medium. And we need to start doing a series of Afterlife interviews with controversial figures live on the internet where people can send us in questions. I think that'd be pretty great, honestly, Jennifer.
I think the super chats might be lit too.
I think we might like clean up on the super chats. We don't usually get super chats on the show, but people are sending super chats tonight. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. We should start getting super chats on this show. Our show is great. Well, we just started, good. So we just gotta build up our audience and be fine.
Well, and also trust and believe the U.S. You ask any question you want, we will answer.
True.
Directly and deeply. The probing stuff, even.
Except if it's about Hitler, and then I have to say that we disavow all Hitler and all Nazis and all and the Holocaust was the worst thing that ever happened, and no less than 6 million Jews died, and it was the worst event in the history of the world. And Israel is great, and Jews are great, and we love them, and we love their food, and we love their bagels, and all that stuff. I do love bagels. I do like bagels are basically the best thing that's ever been invented, I think.
Well, you know what I find interesting is nobody is this tiptoey around other mass murdering leaders like Attila.
True.
or Genghis, or what's the one, Mao Zedong. Any of those, like they're in, even Mussolini. Like, nobody thinks, well, let's channel Mussolini. He was crazy too. Pol Pot, yes, exactly, not Julius. There's a lot, and that's not even that ancient of history. There's been even more. There's so many crazy people that get into power that cause mass murderous events, and for some reason, though, we have to tiptoe around Mr. Hitler, and it's probably because it's more recent and we have more records.
I know that the reason is absolutely not the Jews. I can say that for 100% sure. It is not the Jews.
Not the Jews.
That's not why we can't talk about Hitler. It is absolutely not the Jews.
No. Or the fact that most of the world banks were backing him, hoping he'd win because they did want a new world order. They wanted a world dictator.
Well, I'm not going to say that's the same thing as the Jews because we've already established that it was absolutely not the Jews.
And I will always say they were part of it, just like every other group was a part of it. It was not necessarily their shtick.
Absolutely. Not the Jews. Exactly. Not the Jews.
I love how you just like stick your claws into something. You're like, nope, it's fine.
No, I'm just being very, very clear for YouTube that it was not the Jews.
Ever.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Not the
Jews.
That's actually a great fucking shirt.
You know, I think you just need to get a shirt that says "not it" on it. Not it.
Maybe I'll do that next time. All right. Do you have any other closing thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I don't. I do think we need to find a medium. I think that would be amazing. That would be like so much fun and cool. Let me think. I still do want to do the fairies and elves things. I just did not have the mental brain space or time to put it together. Yeah, I have 3 and one that's 6. So yeah, and I have a grown dog that's also needs attention. And we're trying to desanitize our house, or to sanitize the house because puppies live on the floor. We want to make sure it's all nice and clean for them. So it's been very busy here, and it's only Tuesday. So and I'm getting like intermittent 2 to 3 hour increments of sleep. So I'm not completely well right now.
I think you did a great job for 2.5 hours for not being well tonight. And everyone has to send positive energy to the puppy that is on the desk. And we'll puppy cam one more time. Puppy is sick, and so we need to send puppy positive energy and good vibes so puppy can get better.
For little Asha. And also movie night is coming up Sunday, and I'm doing the genre thing again. I'll be posting that either tonight or tomorrow. Genre poll, so you can pick your genre that you want to watch, and I have a mystery movie attached to each genre. It's fun.
I've been enjoying this genre thing, Jennifer. I have to say, I wasn't so sure about this surprise movie thing, but I kind of feel like we should do this more often.
Oh yeah, you like?
Just do this every week. Just like pick a genre.
And then I get to pick the movie, so nobody gets to fight about it. They're like,
it's actually not the worst idea that's ever happened. Like, except when I'm requesting a movie and then we have to watch what I want to watch. But
and you get all of April too. So
yeah, I get one single month in my supporter Discord.
We had 5 movies last year, and you made me watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
which is the greatest movie of all time, and you should really be thanking me for making you watch that movie. We're going to wrap up now. All right, guys, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We watched Hellstorm on my other channel. So if you go to my Rumble channel, my Something Controversial show, which I will be doing probably when I finish writing my effing book. Like, I will be going back to that. We're going to do, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a whole Christmas time fucking Hitler Jewish marathon, okay, on my Rumble channel. That definitely won't go over badly at all. But we did actually watch Hellstorm, and people should watch it, and it's a crazy documentary, and it will well, James Lindsay won't like that you watch it. I'll just leave it there.
Who cares? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it on the show.
I will leave it there.
With love, oceans of love
And appreciation and gratitude. All right, good night, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.